Get free delivery when you order on the app through September 14th.
We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
And into the end zone goes Chris Olave. A.J. Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local.
What are you gonna miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Well, it is good to be back. Welcome in, everybody. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Happy Monday, coming out of the weekend. So much to get into. Oh, no, Kev, we just have to use that mic. That's all. We can just stretch that mic over there, yeah. That way we can see in the camera. You know, it's one of them days coming back. Just one of them days as we get situated with the mic situation, as we get Kev Nash live in here. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. Welcome in. Head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show. That's where you could jump in on the conversation as well. YouTube, search ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Like and subscribe and be involved there. And we'll have a lot of fun as far as that's concerned. But again, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here. I'm back after a week off. I picked the worst weeks to be off because since I've been gone, I mean, I was like a week from last Friday. The Browns and Bengals have both played 2 games. Ohio State's played 2 games in that point. And within that stretch, I know it's just a fumble Monday. It is a fumble Monday.
Scoop and score.
We will worry about the camera situation later. You could, yeah, there we go.
I mean, it's an audio product.
It's radio first. All right, so let's dive in. First of all, Kev, where do we even start?
I don't know,
man.
man.
You like to start? We got the Browns 1-1, the Bengals 1-1. The Ohio State Buckeyes are 2-1, but yet Ohio State feels like they're 1-2. They feel like they're 0-3. It doesn't feel good in Columbus right now with the way the Ohio State's playing, and that's even after coming off 2 or 3 wins to start the season.
Buckeyes don't look good because they're not playing good. They're not playing how we expect the Ohio State Buckeyes to play. And I know we got at least one Michigan fan listening to the show. Shouts out to Shaw. And I know probably everybody else on here is Buckeye lovers. And we got a couple SEC guys listening. So the way I look at it is not only did Ohio State lose to Oregon, which, you know, we kind of like, all right, this is a game that we can expect a good game, like a challenge. It's a difference between a challenge and like, all right, hold on, we don't look prepared. We don't look like we know what we're doing. And that's where people get frustrated. So that's the Oregon situation. We end up losing to Oregon 35-28, where they basically ran the same play 4 times in a row for touchdowns because we wouldn't come out of man-to-man defense. And then when we finally did get 2 stops in a row, we couldn't move the ball. So like, it seems like that was the frustration. So then we kind of like figure like, all right, look, we're going to bounce back. We're going to have our tune-up game versus Tulsa. We're going to beat them 55-10. Everything will be okay. We'll adjust. We'll play these cupcakes. We'll make adjustments. We'll learn. And then we'll be ready for the Big Ten schedule and handle business. And then things will fall in our favor again. But then Tulsa said, you know what? No, we're not just going to show up and roll over for y'all. We're going to give you a game. Not only are we going to give you a game, we're going to make you sweat. And they didn't look prepared on offense, which is more alarming to me than the defense because the defense has looked bad for the last 2 years. So like I've accepted that the defense isn't going to be the silver bullets. But what I wasn't expecting is the offense to be totally out of sync. So when I was talking to KB about it on the Keith Byers show today, out at Lee's, I asked him, was it the weird 3-3-5 that Tulsa runs? Is that the reason why the offense just looks blah? But then I started thinking, like, what does that have to do with dudes dropping passes? Like, you're wide open. You're Chris Olave. You're Garrett Wilson. Like, you've been making plays at Ohio State for the last 3 to 4 years, and now all of a sudden you're dropping passes? So that was alarming. And KB brought up the point that it's so much substitutions going on. It's guys aren't looking like they're in rhythm because they're being pulled out the game so frequently, middle of drives. Like not even like, all right, man, you ran a 9 route. All right, man, let you get a blow. Let somebody else get into the game. No, like they're just like subbing nonstop. And then you look at the defense. Like, I saw the defense made some changes, but they still were letting guys get wide open for touchdowns in Tulsa and everything like that. So the reason why people in Buckeye country are upset is because we're looking at other teams like the team up north. Yeah, they played opponents that they're better than by name recognition, but they're blowing them out. You know, they blew out Washington, a Power 5 team. They blew out a MAC opponent. They blew other teams out. So they're doing what they're supposed to do. And we're not doing what we're, quote unquote, supposed to do. And then you go look at Alabama. That's the team we're chasing. That's the team everybody's chasing, right? They go blow out Miami. They beat Florida on Saturday. They blew out a no-name opponent, as they're supposed to do. And then you look at Penn State. They have a great atmosphere. They have a whiteout on Saturday with Auburn in town. They beat Auburn. So you look at all these teams across the Big Ten and you start thinking to yourself like, oh, we might be in trouble. The things that the big media guys were talking about, us potentially losing 2 to 3 games, it's on the table because we don't look good. And it all goes to the coaches. It goes not only to Kerry Coombs, because he's the guy that everybody's looking at, because the defense looks terrible because he's the defensive coordinator. But guess who hired him? Coach Day hired him. So I look at the entire coaching staff and say, hey, man, what's going on here? We don't look good. I'm okay with losing a game because you're not going to win every single game. You're not looking good. You're not looking organized. And that's quite alarming to me.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on a Monday, the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. And again, so much to dive into today. We'll talk about the Browns. We'll talk about the Bengals coming up here in just a moment. Yes, I will start off the week with an I told you so, but don't worry. I'll wait a few minutes into the show before I really get into the meat and potatoes as far as that's concerned. But I wanted to open up with Ohio State again because something just seems off. And Kev, you talked about the energy of Ohio State and they, is it a mental thing? What's going on in Columbus? Because it's not talent. It's not talent. Like, it's not like Tulsa is better than we thought. It's not like Tulsa has future NFL prospects up and down that roster. I'm not saying there's not guys on there that will be playing on Sundays, but like no one's looking at Tulsa as a NFL pipeline. Let's just be real here. Sometimes football is a lot easier to comprehend than most sports. I'm stealing this from my friend. Shout out to Dylan because he kept bringing this up over the weekend when we were in Pensacola. Bigger, stronger, faster. It's not really that hard to understand football. The team that's bigger, stronger, faster, you're supposed to win football games, and the bigger, faster, stronger team won over the weekend in Ohio State, but that didn't mean that they were the better football team, and I've yet to see Ohio State play like a real football team. We were able to overlook some of the flaws in week 1 against Minnesota because it was you're starting a freshman quarterback, you're replacing a legend in Justin Fields, you're getting the start on a Thursday night, not your traditional noon kickoff against a subpar opponent. It was on the road, tough atmosphere, a Thursday night at a Big Ten opponent in Minnesota. Stroud was not eased into anything. So we were able to overlook some of the flaws, but we did enjoy watching him struggle the first half and then really just kind of put it together and overall have a complete first game with nearly 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, what have you. But then you get to the Oregon game, and then we're still thinking, like, I wasn't really pumped for that Oregon game. I thought that at the end of the day, Ohio State's just more talented. I think that on paper, the matchup is sexier than what it's going to be from a talent versus talent standpoint. But then Oregon came out and looked like the better team. Ohio State's the more talented team, but Oregon looked like the better team as far as that's concerned. So I think it's just going to come down to one of these things. When you look at Ohio State and you start wondering what is going on in Columbus, is it coaching? Is it Ryan Day? Because the one thing we talked about with Ryan Day, especially when he took over for Urban Meyer, was, well, we know he knows his X's and O's. The X's and O's aren't the problem. We know that he's good at keeping the team motivated. Ohio State has always played very motivated under him. And the big thing about when Urban Meyer was here, and we've talked about this a lot in the past, Urban Meyer teams, they were always ready to go for games, at least in the big games, but they always seemed to take naps on the games that they were always like overlooking teams. They would overlook the Tulsas of the world. They would overlook the Iowas. They would overlook the Purdues. But they would always ramp up. When you would play those big primetime games, those big respectable opponents, Urban Meyer had no problem getting his team ramped up to play them. But he always seemed to not have the pulse of the team to where he could just flip that switch and have them prepared against lesser opponents. Ohio State won over the weekend. Good for them. But it's not about just winning. There's a reason they dropped in the polls this week, even after winning, because winning is not good enough. All right, when you're Ohio State and you're playing Tulsa, you should still just bust a team out by 30. You should still blow that team out by 30. There is no excuse that the game should have been as close as it was deep into the fourth quarter the way that it was. I mean, it was bad. That was not a good game on Saturday. I don't care about Travion Henderson's great game on the ground. Do it against a bigger Big Ten opponent. There's a lot of things that you could sit there and try to be positive about. But we always said that Ryan Day was better at having his team motivated, fired up, and ready to play than Urban Meyer teams. Well, I'm starting to get that Urban Meyer feel a little bit, where the team seems checked out. They seem lackadaisical. They're making mental mistakes that we're not used to and accustomed to seeing them play. It's not a matter of talent. All right, this is why I always say on those, when you get all those players committing to Ohio State, and you look at all the 4 and the 5 stars, and you start bragging about everything on National Signing Day. I'm like, yeah, this day is great, but this is the day. Those National Signing Days are why I'm always so critical of Ohio State. People question whether I'm a real Buckeye fan or not, which is the stupidest thing in the world. But they do that because I actually have the nerve to be critical and to call them out and to be realistic. And to be realistic means when you want to brag and do jumping jacks and cartwheels and shoot off fireworks and brag on Facebook, Twitter, social media, what have you, that Ohio State, they're just eating on recruiting, right? Like they are just going toe to toe with Alabama and all the big teams out there. No one can stop Ohio State recruiting wise. Well, that's why I'm so critical. Because you have the best players in the country. There's no excuse. There is absolute zero excuse why Ohio State should be struggling the way that they are. And it really has to come down to you start questioning whether is it the scheme defensively. Kev, we've always praised Ryan Day that since taking over for Urban, the team has never come out looking flat. They've never come out looking disinterested. They did that a few times under Urban Meyer, which that happens when you play such big, great games all the time. You win the national championship. You have all these expectations. It's easy to overlook the bottom of the barrel teams. But, they were always able to rise up against the bigger teams. This is the first time where I felt like Ryan Day teams are not mentally prepared to play, and it's starting to lead to their physicality, their advantages from a physical standpoint, not being able to overcome that. You're able to overcome a Tulsa. You're going to be able to play bad and overcome Akron on Saturday. But they're not going to be able to do that against Penn State. They're not going to be able to do that against a Michigan State. And God forbid that they play like that in the last game of the year, because Michigan, make fun of them all you want. They're doing what you're supposed to do. They're blowing out the nobodies. You could say, well, they've played nobody. Yeah, and it shows in their scores. But ultimately, if Alabama played Tulsa and it was that close in the fourth quarter, we as Buckeye fans would be ripping Alabama, saying that they're frauds, saying that they're fake, saying that they're not as good as they pretend to be, because how dare Alabama let Tulsa hang around in a game, especially at Alabama. Tulsa was in there punch for punch, swing for swing with Ohio State in the fourth quarter at the shoe. That's a problem, Kev, and I don't think that that's a problem that's going to be fixed overnight. I'm not saying that they are a bad team. They're just not the elite team that we thought they were coming in. Things could change. I just don't see it happening overnight, and that's the problem.
Yeah, it's almost like they didn't have spring practice. It's almost like they didn't have fall camp. Because when I look at the team, there's so many substitutions going on constantly. It seems like they're still searching for the guys that are going to be the lead guys. It's almost like they're still out there saying, all right, man, you guys are still competing for the starting positions. Especially with the linebacking crew, especially with the wide receivers and running backs. It just seems that way. It seems like they don't know who should be starters yet. And I find that quite alarming, like that they're operating like that. So that's alarming for me, man. And, I was talking to my brother about this. We were back home in Cleveland. He came into town from Vegas, and, we're at our dad's 70th birthday party, and we're watching the game, and we're all just sitting there just like, what is going on? It's the third quarter. We're looking like garbage. They end up scoring a touchdown on a blown coverage, and my brother says it out loud, and it's something that we're all thinking, but he had enough gumption to say it out loud. Like, hey, man, we might lose this game. And everybody's like, yeah. And then I was man enough to say, like, if Ohio State and that team up north play tomorrow, who would y'all pick for removing y'all Buckeye hat? And everybody at that barbecue said, well, they look better than we do. Like, we can go off of, oh, man, over the last 5-6 years, it's been this way. But guess what? 5-6 years ago ain't today. We got to go with today and what's happening right now. And if that game was played this upcoming Saturday, say that rivalry game was played this Saturday, they should be favored, and I would pick them to beat us because we look terrible. We don't look enthusiastic. We didn't look prepared for Oregon, and that was supposed to be the big non-conference game. So I know people are magically going to say, oh, man, they would get up for that game because it's a rivalry game. Well, they didn't get up for Oregon at 9 a.m. Oregon time. They flew out here.
Yeah, Ohio State looked like the team that is playing at 9 a.m. their time.
Yeah.
Like that.
They flew out here and played a game at 9 a.m. their time and smacked us in the mouth and ran that same play 3 times for a touchdown. Outflanked. Now, I know they made some defensive changes, different coaches calling the game plan. You know, they ran more of a too high safety look a little bit. And I think the defense eventually will get better throughout the season, you know, and all that type of stuff. But if that game was played versus that team up north this Saturday, Michigan probably would beat us. Thank goodness that game isn't played till November, so we got time to fix some stuff. But you know who we played before that? Played Penn State before that. I would pick Penn State to beat us too. You know who we played before Michigan? We played Michigan State. Mel Tucker has won 6 games at Michigan State where he was an underdog already.
And that's without getting all his talented guys in place. And they're only getting better each week.
You think Mel Tucker, a guy from Cleveland, Ohio, who coached at Ohio State under Tressel, ain't going to be ready for that game? Like, they playing a physical brand of football. And let's say by some miracle we make it to the Big Ten championship game. You know who's going to be there waiting for us? Probably the most physical team in the Big Ten, Iowa. So, look, man, I'm a Buckeye fan through and through, just like everybody else out there. We need to get it together. Get it together desperately, because the way we're playing right now, that ain't going to get it done. And I know we're big, bad Ohio State and we want to play for college football playoffs. We need to be just focused on winning the Big Ten.
All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. After beating up on the Buckeyes for the first 16 minutes of the show, this is our daily reminder that we are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes, and we'll have Ohio State and Akron, a night game, by the way, coming up this Saturday night. Again, they have it all backwards. Oregon at noon, Akron at night under the lights. It drives me crazy.
That's why they got it. That's why they're losing.
I'm telling you, I have no clue. But I will say this. We're going to continue talking Ohio State football on the other side. We'll step away. You heard what we had to say about Ohio State. Honestly, if we were doing a panic meter game, I'm going to be at about a 7, because you can't say that you're not panicked. You can't say, well, there's a long season to go. Folks, that's why I love the 14 playoff. The 14 playoff makes this an urgent situation. Kev, if this was a 12-team playoff right now, I'd be like, we're fine. We may not be high seed, but they'll be fine, right? Like, at the end of the day, like, that's really what it comes down to. But I do know this. I'm looking at Ohio State, and I'm looking at the flaws. They don't look like a college football playoff team. They don't even look like the best team in the Big Ten right now, and that just baffles me. I can't remember the last time I was watching Ohio State and watching other teams in the Big Ten and thought, oh, Iowa just looks like a better team. We know Ohio State's more talented. It's kind of like Kentucky basketball. You know, at times there's Kentucky basketball where they're not playing better than everybody else, but you know, on paper they have more talent, but they're not the best team. And that's Ohio State football right now. They're Kentucky basketball. They have the best players, but they don't have the best team. And they got to get that stuff figured out. I'm confident Ryan Day can do it. But when you talk about what needs to change to make it happen, I'm concerned that those aren't overnight switches. Those aren't overnight fixes. I mean, there's not a switch you could just go flip. Hoping This team gets better each week. Luckily, they have Akron coming up. We'll see if they can kind of put it together. You heard what we have to say. We want to hear what you have to say. Are you panicking about your Ohio State Buckeyes? They're still 2-1. They still kind of punched Tulsa at the end of the game to pull away for that double-digit win, which is all you can ask for, 41-20 the final this past Saturday. But are you concerned, not about Akron beating Ohio State, but are you concerned about another repeat performance of letting a a much smaller program take it to you? I mean, how's it going to feel on Saturday watching Akron under the lights at the shoe take it to you? Are you feeling that way? Or are we and Kev being overdramatic? Are we overblowing this? 518-1410. 518-1410, Buckeye fans. Let's hear from you. 41-20 the final. Ohio State took care of business against Tulsa. But, man, they gave up through the air. Davis Brin is the name of the quarterback for Tulsa. They let him drop back 54 times. Do you think Brin would drop back 54 times against Joey Bosa, against Nick Bosa? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
No pressure. No pressure on him. And you know what? Another thing, when he attempts to go to the NFL, this is the film that the NFL scouts are going to be watching. How did he perform against the big bad teams like Ohio State and, the Oklahomas and stuff like that? This footage that he put out there, this film that he put out there for the NFL scouts, this is going to get him a camp invite. This is going to put him on the radar because he didn't look bad. You know why he didn't look bad? No pressure. No pressure. And the time he was pressured, guess what? He threw an interception. Miraculous.
Amazing how that goes. All right, 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash. We'll talk more Buckeyes with you guys this time. We'll also take your reaction off the Facebook page. Search The Justin Kinner Show. Jump in the chat that way. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high near 80. Tonight will be mostly cloudy, also with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a low near 68. And tomorrow will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high near 80. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces at your home, office, or commercial property. Introducing infrared patching, a new technology for your property. This service and more at culletsealcoating.com.
Hey, it's Ariana Grande.
And Blake Shelton.
And I'm so excited to join The Voice this season.
I'll put it on social media so everyone knows. Now get ready to hear the likes pouring in. Darn, the internet must be broken again.
I'll just give it a try on mine, just in case. Huh. Guess they fixed the internet.
The new season of The Voice with Ariana Grande premieres tonight on NBC.
Okay, now you're just rubbing it in.
Right now, people are home with their pets more often, and I think especially with the shedding, they're more cognizant of what's going on and that it's an actual issue.
Nala's got some skin issues. He gets really going and scratching.
Excessive shedding, a lot of just scratching and itching.
Digging, scratching, and itching, and biting. On top of that, he was starting to get black buildup in his ears.
DINOVITE.com.
I just heard the Dynovite commercial so many times that I said, you know what, I'll give it a shot. And I ordered it and tried it, and it worked.
We started Dynovite, and in our first stock, we noticed a difference, especially with the shedding.
Within 3 weeks, he's not scratching and itching, and he's an all-around happier dog.
We've got 4 dogs, all different ages, all different sizes, and they've all just responded really well to the Dynovite, and they all love it.
We will be using Dynovite for life.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
We order our Dynovite from Dynovite.com. DINOVITE.com.
Alice Cooper, the godfather of shock rock, is back. Alice Cooper, live in concert. With special guest, former Kiss guitarist Ace Frehley. Rose Music Center at the Heights, September 28th. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com and the Rose Music Center box office. The concert return of the year with legendary rocker Alice Cooper. Check more at AliceCooper.com.
Paid for by the American Hospital Association. COVID-19 remains a threat in Ohio. Dr. Tammy Lundstrom, Chief Medical Officer for Trinity Health, urges all eligible Ohioans to get vaccinated.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tammy Lundstrom. You should know this virus isn't gone, and it doesn't care how old you are. In fact, children now account for more than 14% of new cases. The virus affects different people in different ways. It can be mild for some, but life-threatening for others. With COVID-19 vaccination, you can protect yourself and your family. The vaccines are free and safe. I got vaccinated as soon as I could to protect my family and community, and I'm doing well. Ask the questions you have to get the answers you need. Please help Ohio fight COVID-19 by choosing vaccination.
For information on COVID-19 vaccines in your community, visit coronavirus.ohio.gov.
Hi, John Glazer here for Glazer Soft Water. We've been making water great since 1988, and no matter what your water issues, we have solutions. Your city water can be clear, but still be hard and have the taste and odor of chlorine. Well water can look, smell, and taste terrible. Glazer Soft Water will fix your water and will even include a 7-year parts and labor warranty so you don't have to worry. Visit our website to learn more at glazersoftwater.com. Glazer Water really is better water.
Hey, Buckeye fans, as the official wing sponsor of your Ohio State Buckeyes, Roosters is giving away 12 trips for two to this year's Buckeye Bowl game. Each trip comes complete with airfare, hotel, gift bag, and 2 tickets to the big game. One bowl prize winner chosen each week, along with other cool Roosters weekly prizes. So register every week at roosterswings.com. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Official contest rules at roosterswings.com.
At Menards, walk through the lighting showroom and find your style with Patriot Lighting. The B Collection has a modern country look. The lights feature whitewashed faux wood paired elegantly together with a galvanized finish for a perfect combination. Right now, all Patriot Lighting is 11% off. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through September 25th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Ohio State 41-20 over Tulsa this past Saturday. Kev Nash and I are breaking it all down right now. We gave you our thoughts on how Ohio State performed over the weekend, not just over the weekend, but the season as a whole. Is there a need to be concerned? I think that there is, and you can sense it in all the press conferences with Ryan Day and the coaching staff and the fans as a whole. And does that have any indication, or does that have any overlap with why you're starting to see attendance issues at the shoe? What are some of your biggest takeaways and concerns about the Ohio State Buckeyes 3 games into the season? We'll be back in 90 seconds to take your phone calls. 518-1410, 518-1410. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here, taking your calls in 90 seconds. Give us a call, and we'll hear what you have to say about the Ohio State Buckeyes when we come back.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Ad paid for by CompleteCar.com. This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to the COVID crisis, we are announcing a low-cost extended service plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay nothing for auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay nothing for auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-549-1980. Now. Drivers who are covered by this auto protection will not have to pay for a covered repair bill again. This auto coverage is at an all-time low, much lower than what dealerships are charging. Additionally, drivers who activate this auto coverage today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and free rental car at no additional cost. Call for your free quick quote today. 800-549-1985. 800-549-1985. What do you have to lose? Again, 800-549-1985.
Rise, shine, and dine for just $1.99. Head to Wendy's for a sausage or bacon, egg, and Swiss croissant for just $1.99 during breakfast hours. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's. Limited time only. Price and participation may vary.
NFL fans, the season is finally here. Get your picks submitted at wingam.com. Click on contest and enter the Pro Football Challenge. Weekly winners will win $20 in Frickers Fun Bucks. Get to wingam.com and get your NFL picks submitted now.
Touchdown! Incredible!
Good luck.
So our NFL Pro Football Pick'em contest presented by Frickers. You can submit your weekly picks at wingam.com. Kev just asked how I did during the break. Well, I'm ticked off. I didn't do. I mean, I think I had like 10 plus points in back-to-back weeks, but I'm mad because I apparently have used multiple emails in years past doing these picks. So I used one email for week 1 and another for week 2, and I'm pretty ticked off about it. And I don't know how to merge them. In fact,
has to be a way.
When listeners have reached out in the past, I've said there's no way to do it. But now that it's impacting me, I was selfishly want to make sure there's a way to fix it. So nonetheless. But yes, $25 in Frickers Fun Bucks awarded to the weekly round winners. We already have weeks 1 and soon to be week 2 winners following tonight's Monday Night Football matchup. So we will be reaching out to winners for weeks 1 and 2 tomorrow morning, and we'll give you instructions on how you can pick up your $25 in Frickers Bucks. We appreciate Frickers for providing that prize for our weekly round winners. It's a lot of fun, and Kevin and I will we'll go ahead and dive into who's had more picks correct. And
well, since you missed a week, it's definitely me.
I'm combining both. I mean, let's just be real. I'm not going out like that. All right, we welcome you back again. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here. Reaction to Ohio State, Tulsa. Not so much the reaction to the game itself, but the game within the game. What I love about the 4-team college football playoff is sometimes I'm not really analyzing a game based on how they look against that particular opponent. It's, man, if they're struggling against Tulsa, all right, if Tulsa's quarterback could throw for over 350-plus yards, if Tulsa's quarterback could drop back 50 times, what's a Bryce Young going to do to Ohio State in the playoff? What would Bryce Young do to the Buckeye defense if Ben can do that to the defense from Tulsa? And that's no disrespect to that kid. Good for him. I mean, those are NFL caliber athletes that he's throwing the ball against. I think it's more scheme related than it is talent. Like, that's what's frustrating, Kev, is I don't think we're questioning the talent. We know the talent's there. I mean, it could be developmental issues as far as the talent's concerned. How are they being developed out on the field? Could it be a scheme issue? It's clearly a scheme issue, of which you can't just fix overnight. That's the concern is, I don't think of all the concerns, there's no easy fix to any of this. That's the problem.
Right. It's a couple things. One, in the press conference after the Oregon loss, Kerry Combs was asked about, the scheme and everything like that. And he was quoted as saying that people around here like this scheme. So for me, I don't think he's running the scheme that he wants to run. He's running what Coach Day wants him to run. So is Coach Combs running his defense? No. So that's what I would wonder. Like, those are the type of questions I would want to ask him. Like, well, what type of defense do you want to run? Because you're the DC. That's a big thing for me. But I'll ask you about the talent situation. There's no question that Ohio State has had talent along the defensive line for a number of years with the Bosa brothers, with Chase Young and things of that nature. And they all been coached by Larry Johnson Sr. He's a constant on that team. He's a constant on that defense where, there's been staff changes from linebackers to the actual DC, the guys calling it, but he's the constant. But that group that he's coaching right now, they're not getting pressure on the quarterback either. So that's why I would question, all right, hold on. This guy who was responsible for developing two of the most athletic people we've ever seen at the defensive end position at Ohio State and going on to the NFL and wreck shop. He developed those guys. Now he's developing these guys, and they're not catching on at the same rate that they did. Now, I'm not saying that everybody's going to catch on at the same rate, but that's where I'm at with the talent situation. Maybe we don't have the talent. Maybe these guys aren't as talented as the Bosa brothers or Chase Young, because we've been asking this same question for 2 years now about Zach Harrison. To my recollection, I've only seen him make 2 plays. 2 plays in 3 years. That's not enough. It's not enough plays. You're not making enough plays. So we can't say oh man, Larry Johnson is the best developed defensive lineman, and then now we have a whole bunch of defensive linemen who aren't making any impact plays. The freshman that just showed up on campus, he's making plays already. I can't pronounce his name, but he's making plays. He just signed his letter of intent in August, showed up in August. He's making plays. Other people need to make plays too. Haskell Garrett, he's making plays.
Not a lot of guys making plays.
Yeah. Hey, Tariq Smith, Cleveland Heights High School. I brag about my high school all the time about how many guys are D1 and how many coaches. Tariq Smith makes some plays. You want to go to the pros, make some plays. Get the quarterback. Make some plays.
And that's really what it's going to come down to, and not just one or two individuals, but collectively as a whole. And that's the one thing Ohio State's always been able to rely on. But let's go to the phones. 518-1410. That's the number to call if you're calling from out of the Dayton area. 937-518-1410. We got Bob, Cameron, Chris, and a few others on hold. Let's start things off with Bob on line 1. Bob, I appreciate you holding. How are you, sir?
I am doing great, thank you. Actually, I went to my very first Ohio State home game at the Oregon game.
No kidding. That's a good, well, not a good result, but that's a heck of an atmosphere to be your first home game. That's pretty cool.
It was a great atmosphere. It just didn't get the results I wanted for my first home game.
So they're 0-1 when you go to games, Bob. I'm just throwing that out there.
My brother-in-law said I'm not allowed to come back.
Exactly. But what do you think? How do you feel right now about this team?
Oh, gosh. Let's start with the offense. Obviously, you don't have as many holes. Two things. The run-pass option for the quarterback is 0 in 3 games. When he fakes the handoff and actually hands it off, everybody knows he's handing it off. So where's the defense go? After the running back. Because they know that's where the ball's going. I mean, there's been a couple of times, had he kept the ball, the left side was like wide open. So I don't know. I mean, granted, you don't want him running all the time, kind of like, the Ravens did the other day. That's not Stroud. But you got to do it occasionally to keep the defense honest. So that's one thing. The other thing is Stroud seems hot and high often, and occasionally, like with the interception with Ruckert this past weekend, he was late getting the throw off. I mean, he threw into, and then based on that route, Garrett was right there. So you had 3 defensive players in the same 5-yard radius. So had he gotten it to him a little sooner in the middle of the field, he was open for a short period of time. So it just seems like he's just not quite on sometimes,
Well, I think that being a first-year quarterback, we've been spoiled with guys like Dwayne Haskins, who comes in right away and is a Heisman finalist. We've been spoiled with going to Justin Fields. To be fair to C.J. Stroud here, C.J. Stroud is your normal elite quarterback, if that makes sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's why we get spoiled with the Haskins and the Fields, that we aren't enjoying what is your typical elite quarterback. Stroud's an elite quarterback. He's just not that Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Dwayne Haskins caliber quarterback yet. I think we got to give him a little time.
Yeah, he just needs to settle in.
Yep. Yeah, I'm willing to do that. I'm a critical person.
He's doing decent.
What's that? Sorry.
Well, the defensive side, I think you're 100% right at scheme. I mean, quite frankly, running the same play 3 times for touchdowns. First time, okay, inexperienced, youth in the back end, fine. But after the second and the third time, and then they had a fourth time where they did a quarterback sweep to the outside, and he threw for a touchdown on the left side. Every time they needed something, which side of the field do they go? Left. At some point, the coaches got to make some adjustments, and they made 0. Oregon was not the better team on that day, and that's my concern, is they're going to lose some games, which is going to hurt us.
Well, that's the problem when you have a defense.
We were the more talented team. We weren't coached. We were out-coached.
Well, I remember a few years ago, Bob, this team right now, 3 games in, they kind of remind me about, speaking of Dwayne Haskins, they remind me of that Dwayne Haskins season where they had, in fact, I think that Dwayne Haskins offense was just better. I think that on paper, that receiving core is better this year. The running game should be better this year, but it's just not. But I mean, that year it was all about the offense, and the defense was, it was a guessing game every week. Remember that Maryland game a few years ago, that Dwayne Haskins year?
Oh my gosh.
With
50 points or whatever it was outside.
And with Ohio State's defense being similar to that year, no game is safe. And I'm kind of enjoying it. I kind of enjoy when I tune into a game that there's a chance Ohio State's going to find themselves in the dogfight, but I still feel like gross after the win, even like, man, that was not pretty. But at the end of the day, Ohio State's going to be vulnerable to lose every week, regardless of the caliber of team. They just let Tulsa's quarterback throw for 430 yards. They got to fix it, and they got to fix it quick, because the team's going to get better each week.
Right. They're getting no pressure. Haskell Garrett, when he's one-on-one, gets in the backfield and causes trouble. But they're double teaming him, and the other guys aren't stepping up. And it wasn't until that freshman came in, and he was getting in the backfield. And guess what? They had to start chipping him, and then Haskell Garrett started getting, so he had somebody to partner up with, which he had last year. He doesn't have that person. The other guys aren't pulling their weight. They need to get somebody else to get some pressure so he's not doubled all the time. I mean, that's part of the problem, too. If you sit back there all day, that guy was actually a good quarterback. He had an accurate arm. He was putting the ball where it needed to be most of the time, and he had time to do it, and that was the problem. He had all day to sit back there unless we were blitzing just to pick him apart, and he did until that freshman came in, and then they had to start changing their scheme, and that's when the defense started playing a little better, if you notice, towards the end of the game.
Yeah, but Bob, we're out of time. I appreciate you calling in. You bring up a lot of great points. Stay away from the shoe. All right, 518-1410. And I haven't got to this point of the show yet, but I do want to get into, is Stroud's Is the pressure on Stroud due to all the talk of Quinn Ewers? Could that be playing a role? I mean, CJ Stroud could be the first NIL casualty. And what I mean by that is there's always pressure at this level of competition of athletics when you're playing at the Ohio State University, but I think it's going to be raised a notch here. And I could see an interesting storyline developing where it feels like at times Buckeye fans are turning on the kid, which to me is baffling. But if you fans turn on him and you piss him off and he ends up leaving because of Quinn Ewers and he goes to that team up north, I mean, can you imagine if the first time that Ohio State loses to that team up north is because CJ Stroud said, you know what, I'll stick it to all of you. I'll get a win in the shoe. I'll get a big win in the shoe. I'm just saying that's a big picture storyline right there. But 518-1410. Kev, let's go to Cameron. Cameron's up next. Cameron, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. What you got for us, man?
Okay, I didn't watch the Tulsa game, but I did watch the first half and part of the second of the Oregon game, and it was pretty obvious that Ohio State was going to lose. The defensive scheme, I've been mad about it for years. If you mentioned the Maryland, the previous caller, you mentioned the Maryland game a couple of years ago. Yep. They busted long run plays. When you see at the end lined up on the head up on the tackle, a defensive back right behind him 5 yards, and then the safety 5 yards behind him, you have nobody out there to try and cover the outside. That was one issue, is that I've always disliked the scheme on defense. The offensive line, I was wondering if it was coaching, because again, in the first half of the Oregon game, if a running back goes and gets 2 or 3 yards in a big pileup, you normally see defensive and offensive linemen getting up. And too many times I was seeing the Ohio State linemen in a pile 4 or 5 yards down the field. So I'm just wondering if on the offensive line, the coaching is they either overcoached them or didn't coach them well enough for that.
No, and Cameron, and I appreciate the call, Cameron. Thank you. Look, I think that the problem is defense is the number one concern. But Kev, what are they elite at? They're not elite at anything right now.
What, the defense?
No, the team as a whole.
Team nowhere. They're still trying to find out our identity on offense. Defense, I'm not going to say it's a lost cause, but like they're at the point now with the defense was like, all right, man, we're not going to be the 19 defense. And that 19 defense is one of the best Ohio State defense I've ever seen. No doubt about it. So that's out the window. Fine. Okay. But they just need to get to bend but don't break. Holds people to some field goals here. You know, that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? To expect them to just, like you said, turn on the magical light and to like, all right, we're going to start causing turnovers. You're going to start forcing all these 3 and outs. That ain't going to happen. That's not going to happen. They'll get better because they'll get more reps. They'll eventually find out who's going to play, who's not going to play, things of that nature. They'll get better. But to expect them to be lights out, no. As far as the offense, I still think they're trying to find their identity about what they want to be. Like the biggest change about the offense this game versus Tulsa was they committed to running the ball. I think, and that was to try to save the defense, because if you're scoring so fast, and that was like one of the things, like a quote unquote problem about Ohio State, they would score so fast and put the defense right back on the field. So you have a defense that's struggling, and then you're going to have a defense that's struggling, that's tired because your offense is scoring in 4 plays. So you don't want that. So they committed to the run game. And then it just seems when they committed to the run, the pass game was out of sync. And then when you do finally hit a big pass play to Chris Olave, it gets called back for holding. It just seemed like nothing was in sync. Now, do I think that Coach Day is about to have one of the roughest practices of the year this week? Absolutely. I think they're going to hate football by the time this week is over. I think the team is going to be like, man, Coach Day used to be so cool. I think Coach Day needs to break out, hey, man, y'all at Ohio State, y'all going to perform like that. We're going to make you earn your scholarship this week. Not at the game. We're going to make you earn it during practice. You see all these clips about Ohio State having fun on Fridays where the big guys get to hold the ball and run with the ball and play quarterback and running back and things of that nature. And then you see the wide receivers like having dunk contests and stuff like that. I don't think we're going to get that this week. I would be happy if we didn't see that this week. I would love to see Coach Day bring it down a notch and really crank up the intensity in practice and, call people out. You know what I'm saying? This is football. Like, this isn't going to be always smooth sailing and everything's going to work as we plan. But where you can make it work is in practice. And, hey, man, you ran a bad route. You dropped a pass, Chris Olave. You came back to Ohio State to win the Blitnikoff and to up your draft stock. Guess what you're not doing by dropping passes? Winning the Blitnikoff or upping your draft stock. Hey, Garrett Wilson, you're dropping passes too. What is wrong with you? Make them run some laps. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have no problem with hard coaching, and I think that Coach Day is going to bring that this week. I expect Ohio State to bring the pain on Saturday.
Well, my problem is and the one thing you hear about Nick Saban is he prepares, like if they're prepping for, William and Mary, not William and Mary, but you see my point, that caliber of a team. I mean, it doesn't matter whether they're prepping for a really, really bad team or Clemson or Ohio State. Practice is the same. Nick Saban is as intense week in and week out. Ryan Day's a young head coach. That's going to be something that he has to work on too. We keep forgetting about the flaws of a young head coach who's kind of learning as he goes here. But man, it shouldn't take playing bad for Ryan Day to have an intense practice. And I'm not saying that's the case. We're not at practice, but I do know what you're saying, where if you're a intense coach every week, you even know that there has to be enough left in you to take it to that next level when your team needs a kick in the pants. And I never thought I would say this, but they need a kick in the pants for Akron. They are a 49-point favorite, by the way, for that game coming up this Saturday night at the Shoe. Buckeyes, Akron, prime time at the Shoe. How weird is that? Let's go back to the phones. 518-1410. We got Chris waiting on us. Chris, how are you, sir?
Hi, how you guys doing?
Good, man. How you feel about this Buckeye team?
I feel terrible about them. I don't know how anybody can watch that and feel comfortable in any way. I don't think that the offense is good. I think, I know Stroud's young, but everything's high. Did Olave even have a catch? I know he didn't have any 3 quarters in. He didn't.
Mm-mm.
I mean, how do you not get that man the ball? I mean, that's on Ryan Day too. Where's a quick wide receiver screen? I mean, Justin, you brought this up last week, and I've been thinking about it. Are we sure Ryan Day can even coach? I mean, he's had Urban Meyer's team since he's been there. I mean, now these are his guys. The defense, I mean, they're just terrible. I mean, what can you say about the defense? I mean, that was Tulsa. I mean, come on. They're like 117th ranked on third down. It's terrible. I mean, they're gonna have to do something to get a spark. I mean, it's still early in the season. I mean, I hate to be pounding the table for Quinn Ewers here, but I mean, if you lose again, what are you waiting on? Get the guy some reps. Like I said, though, I'm not counting Stroud out. It's just everything's high. He don't run. This just isn't Ohio State football. I mean, when you go back to J.T. Barrett and Braxton and Fields last year, you got to be able to run the ball a little bit with the quarterback. It's just what we do, and he doesn't do it. When he does run, he looks like he's scared to get hit. I don't know, but I don't know how anybody could feel comfortable because this team's just not good. They're definitely not a top 10 team. I'm not sure they're a top 20 team. And if there was ever a year Michigan's going to beat us, this is the year because we look like dog crap.
Well, Chris, I want to thank you for showing restraint there because I love your passion, so I want to be serious about that. But usually with passion comes slippage of bad words, and I
tried hard, Justin. I tried really hard.
I'm proud of you, Chris, and I appreciate that. That keeps me, happy right there. Chris, you seem more concerned about the offense and the defense. Like they can in college football, you're going to win a lot of games with an elite offense, but the defense is going to cost you a lot of games against teams that you probably don't have business being in games with. I know what you're saying about with Stroud, and I would be more concerned if this was our week 8 or 9 conversation about him. I'm not going to overreact yet to week 3. However, I will say that the defense has been really what has costed them the last couple of weeks as far as that's concerned. I know they won. It feels like a loss this past Saturday. That's how spoiled we are. I guess I'm so disappointed in the defense, Chris, that I haven't even gotten to the offense yet to even be concerned there. I just think that the talent is there on offense. I think that they can get that buttoned up quicker than they can the defense. I guess that's why I'm more concerned about that.
I agree with that, Justin. I agree the defense is. I mean, the offense can still score, but again, this is Tulsa. I mean, Michigan just put up 70 points against Northern Illinois. We should have put up 70 on Tulsa. It's just not a good football team all the way around. Offensively, defense, coaching, none of it's good right now, and we should be worried.
All right, well, Chris,
thanks for the call, guys.
Hey, take care. Appreciate it. All right, 518-1410, 518-1410. We got to take a step away for a few moments. All I got to say is, Buckeye fans, you sound like a bunch of spoiled brats.
We do.
We are just the worst. We are the worst. The worst. But I'll take being the worst fan base out there, mainly because we've been spoiled, and we sound like we're spoiled. This is a good football team. Look, everyone knows I'm not one to spin anything positive just for the sake of making people happy. I have been making people miserable. Let's see, I'm going to be 32 in November for 31 and almost 32 years now. I'm not trying to tell you what y'all want to hear just to feel better about yourselves, but let's be real. This team is not as bad as you think, but I also think that for the first time in a long time, this team is not as good as we think either. A little bit of humble pie. I still think that the ceiling is very, very high for this team.
Ceiling's the roof.
Very, very high. Yeah. The ceiling is, yeah. We'll be back. 518-1410. That's the number to call. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
In college football, Goodyear knows a new season means new possibilities, where every Saturday is an opportunity on the road to greatness. No matter if you're out there playing your hardest or cheering the loudest from the sidelines, tailgating in the parking lot, or your favorite spot to watch the game, Goodyear knows passion is what drives us forward all the way to the playoffs. That's the road that moves us. Goodyear, more driven.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
A deeper connection with water can change your life, and that's what the home's first smart water network does. It turns your everyday routine into a customized experience.
Moen, fill the baby's bottle.
And it can stop a catastrophic leak with a simple water designs our life. Who designs for water? Moen.
The moment you fire up a Gator UTV, the engine has your full attention. The completed job is on the horizon, and the trail meets its match. Just like that, you made short work of a long to-do list. Run with us on a John Deere Gator UTV. With effortless four-wheel drive at the flip of a switch and our smoothest shifting transmission yet. Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere Gator for more.
That was some storm, huh? Did you lose power?
Yeah, but I thought I didn't have to worry about that when I got solar.
Well, when the grid goes down, they shut us down too.
I found that out, but your lights stayed on last night.
Solar backup batteries. That's real energy independence.
OGW Energy Resources has been attending the Miami Valley solar needs for over 14 years. Visit OGWEnergyResources.com for more information. OGW Energy Resources. Your energy, your future. Control it.
Want to look like $1 million but only spend a handful of bucks? Upgrade to Dollar Shave Club with the Ultimate Shave Starter Set for only $5. Get a 6-blade razor, prep scrub, shave butter, and post-shave dew for a noticeably smooth shave. Plus free shipping. Razors can be expensive, so don't spend all that money for a mediocre shave. Dollar Shave Club. It's what dreams are shaved of. After the starter set, razors ship at a regular price. Go to dollarshaveclub.com/gojo. That's dollarshaveclub.com/gojo. Welcome to the club.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
Frickin' football is here. Frickers has the games on all the screens and you score with savings. Enjoy your favorite ice-cold domestic draft personal pitchers for only $6.50. A 48-ounce personal pitcher for only $6.50. And enjoy a plate of your favorite frickin' nachos for just $7. Take your frickin' pick. Frickin' chicken nachos, Mississippi barbecue nachos, or Nachos Supreme, only $7. This season, don't just be a football fan, be a Nacho fan. At the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Hustler Turf commercial mowers are built tough to work hard. Whether you need a fleet of mowers or are a one-man show, you don't have time for downtime. Hustler mowers are over-engineered, overbuilt, and tested well beyond what is required with the most complete lineup in the industry, including exclusives like a 104-inch Super 104, an 88-inch stand-on, and industry-leading warranties. Hustler mowers are ready to handle what you throw at them. Build your fleet to be reliable and versatile with Hustler Turf. Visit Small Engine Service Pros in New Carlisle today.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
Hi, I'm Sales Manager Jason High at Germain Honda Beaver Creek, proud recipient of the prestigious President's Award. We are your local Honda dealer, and we invite you to see our newly renovated state-of-the-art facility. You'll be amazed at our selection, and remember, all new Hondas come with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit us at Route 35, just east of 675, conveniently located near Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way. I'll see you soon.
Do you have outstanding fines and court costs in Kettering Municipal Court?
Hello, I'm Clerk of Court Rob Scott, serving Kettering, Centerville, Moraine, and Washington Township and Kettering Municipal Court. We are offering this one-time amnesty event in our court from October 19th to October 29th for you to pay off half your outstanding fines and costs, and the other half will be waived. Have questions? Call me, Rob Scott, at 937-296-2461, or go to KetteringMunicipalCourt.com. There is nothing to fear. Come into our court to pay off your outstanding fees and costs. Get the other half waived.
This is brought to you by Rob Scott, Clerk of Court.
Dan Abrams and his live PD sidekick Styx return in a new program, Dan Abrams Live. Premieres Monday, September 27th at 8/7 Central on News Nation.
Don't miss the ESPN Dayton Glacier Softwater High School Football Game of the Week every Friday night, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers and Justin Kinner will have the call all season long. Check out wingam.com for the complete schedule and to stream the games live.
All right, we're wrapping up hour number one here. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Don't worry, we will get into some NFL talk coming up here in the 4 o'clock hour, but I do want to wrap up this Buckeye conversation. I don't like to do the whole overreacting thing, but I will say this. Football is a very easy sport to figure out at times, and right now there is what I mean by easy is it just comes down to pointing out the flaws. The flaws of this Buckeye team, I don't think there's an elite aspect of the way this team's performing right now. I saw Shaw on Facebook, Kev, say, well, they're elite at running the football. I don't think they're elite at running the football. I think their strength is running the football. I don't think they're elite at running the football until I see the eliteness of their run game go up against better competition. I can't say that they are elite at anything right now. I mean, again, you let a Tulsa quarterback throw for 430 yards on you. They're not elite defensively. Quarterback play, I think that he's a future elite quarterback. I think that future could be maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. But I think we've been spoiled, and I think that we're acting like it. I love you fans, but you're acting like a bunch of entitled brats right now. Ryan Day can't coach. CJ Stroud's a bad quarterback. I'm not attacking the callers or your opinion on this, but do you realize how that sounds? I think we need to chill. Just need to relax. We need to relax.
Aaron Rodgers.
I don't like Aaron Rodgers.
I know you don't like A-Rod.
But no, I enjoyed his week 1 performance, by the way, and I'm really curious to see how he counters it today. But no, at the end of the day, it's a situation where I just think we're so spoiled that right now this is still a very good football team. They're just not playing elite right now. There's not an elite aspect to this team. So we're going to pick up with your phone calls. I see we have Reggie, we have Shaw, we have Dickie, we have Mike, and we have a few others on hold. We're going to pick up with your calls at the top of the 4 o'clock hour, and then we'll dive into some NFL stuff. We'll talk about the Cleveland Browns. I'm not happy about their defense. In fact, this Cleveland team, they're scared me a little bit. And the Cincinnati Bengals, well, I told you so. I told you so. That's our Bengals topic for the day. I don't even think I'm going to waste my time on the Bengals today. It's as simple as I told you so. It's the same team as last year, same team as the year before that. I'll be really surprised if Burrow could play all 17 games this year. I'll be surprised if he could play 13 games this year. All right, we'll step away for a few moments. More Buckeye talk, your phone calls, top of the hour, and then we'll dive into some Browns and NFL and Bengals talk and all that fun stuff. Don't go anywhere. Hour 2 next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Hello, everyone. It's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Call me today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Are you involved with a school or charitable fundraiser that holds an auction, bid and buy booth, or a raffle to raise money? Many of the most popular items at auctions or booths are autographed sports memorabilia items. How can you get great items in your event? Call Adam Walter at Sports Investments. Sports Investments has a consignment program for fundraisers that has provided outstanding items. You select items that are proven sellers, including autographed pieces from Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Joey Votto, the Big Red Machine, the Bengals, the Browns, UC, XU, UK, NKU, Dayton, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. Sports Investments consigns the items to your group at a highly discounted price. And when they sell, you keep the profit. You don't pay anything in advance. And if something doesn't sell, you simply return it. You'll enjoy the experience of dealing with the Walter family. Call them at 513-891-5000. Email Adam at sportsinvestments.com or visit them on Montgomery Road, right off I-275, just 40 minutes from WING.
CVS pharmacists have a tool designed to look for ways that may help lower your prescription costs. Visit CVS today.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle. WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local. What are you gonna miss? He struck him out. We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
All right, welcome in Hour 2. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash hanging out with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Happy Monday. Talking Ohio State football. They dropped to number 10 in the country. Cincinnati ranked ahead of them, Kev.
That was a good game. You see, they beat Indiana over the weekend, came back. They were like down 14-0, came back and got that big victory. Now setting up their trip to South Bend on October 2nd. Now all we really got to do is Notre Dame has to beat Wisconsin. And then UC beat Notre Dame, finish out the regular season. The way this season, the way Ohio State is playing, the way Clemson is playing, matter of fact, the way Oklahoma is playing, they might have a chance. All they got to do is take care of business.
Yeah, Notre Dame's interesting because, we're sitting here talking about how Notre Dame is going to help Cincinnati, but Cincinnati, top 10 team, they're going to help Notre Dame.
Right, exactly.
Like if Notre Dame beats Cincinnati, and then they have Wisconsin, you say, like Notre Dame is setting themselves up. The Big Ten's been more impressive than I thought this year, and they're doing it. It was a bumpy week 1, by the way, but they're doing it without their star team being a star team. And we're so spoiled, man. The Buckeyes won on Saturday, and we're talking as if they got blown out by 30 against Purdue or Iowa from years ago. Like that's how spoiled we are, which again, that's a good problem to have. I'm not even saying to act less spoiled. I like to point it out. That's all. We're acting spoiled.
We definitely got first world problems over here at Ohio State.
Yeah, feel bad for us, I tell you. All right, 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call in and jump in on the conversation. But again, a lot of question marks with this Buckeye team. And again, like we know the flaws, we see the flaws. How do those flaws match up against some of the better teams that they're going to run into, like Penn State, like that team up north, Michigan State? You get to the Big Ten title game if they get there unscathed moving forward. Iowa, that's my goodness, Wisconsin, physical teams that if they put the pressure on CJ Stroud, we see how different of a quarterback he looks like when the pressure's on him. Iowa will get to him. Penn State's going to get to him. Michigan State's going to, they're going to attempt to get to him. Michigan, I need to see a little bit more, but they look solid. Michigan's doing what you're supposed to do, blow out bad teams. I'm not going to sit here and focus on the bad teams that they're playing. The scores indicate they're playing bad teams. When Ohio State plays a team right now in Tulsa, that Tulsa's not on Ohio State's level, but that's not indicating that they played a bad team, and that's where you have to be a little concerned because I don't think that was an off day, Kev. I think that they've made some off day mistakes, but I don't think that was like a mentally off day for them. Their flaws are getting the best of them, and their flaws are going to continue to get the best of them moving forward. We do have the Buckeye Roundtable tonight coming up, 6:02, immediately following the show. So you'll get to hear from Ryan Day, and you'll get to hear from some other members of the team and the coaching staff, Skip Mossick, Paul Keels, and the gang. They'll dive into this, and you'll get to hear a lot of that. But I want to get back to the phones a little bit and pick your guys' brain as well. 518-1410. Let's go to Reggie. Reggie, how are you, sir?
What up, man?
How are you? What do you got for us? What do you think about these Buckeyes?
Oh, what it do, baby? I'm trying to tell you, man, listen. Ryan Day, he's in trouble, man. Let's face it. Hey, the guy, he's done all he can. He came in because of Urban Meyer, and now he's gone as far as he can go, and there's nothing else that he can do. He can coach out the rest of this season. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ohio State loses a couple more games because you can practice them as hard as you can, but you can only do what you can do with the talent that you have. And Ryan Day did not do his job, and he hasn't done it. And it's just not going to work out.
Hold up, time out. They're 2-1. Ryan Day, that was his first regular season loss ever against Oregon. He was just in the national championship game. They've been in the playoffs every year since he's taken over. They beat Clemson and Trevor Lawrence last year. I'm just not ready to pile on Ryan Day like that yet. We have to see. We learn about coaches through adversity, and I would rather my team be learning through wins than learning through losses, and they're learning through wins. Losing to Oregon, the number 3 team in the country, that's not a bad loss right now. That the Ohio State can overcome that loss with where Oregon's ranked right now at this time. So I'm not hitting the panic button yet, man.
It's more than that, man. You got they are having problems on both sides of the ball, man. They don't have a running game, and they don't have a defense. Now, what more can you do? That's the coach's fault.
Oh, hold on, Reggie. Let me jump in there. Coach Day is 25-3. 25-3,
Who's he lost to, Kev? Who's he lost to?
He's lost to Clemson, Alabama, and Oregon.
But you don't understand. This is Ohio State, man. It's different.
There is no coach out there that's going to go undefeated. Now, when Justin and I started the show, we were talking about how like they're in trouble and things need to get fixed. Now, comments like Coach Day needs to get up out of here. Like, I gotta defend my coach now here. Like, he's 25-3. Yes, I think this is exactly what Justin was talking about, us being spoiled as a fan base because
not spoiled, man. This is Ohio, man.
So hold on. So Urban Meyer lost games too. Jim Tressel lost games too.
Woody Hayes said
he lost games too.
Ohio State.
There's no Ohio State coach that's ever went undefeated throughout their tenure coaching Ohio State. So to say Coach Day needs to get up out the paint or says he can finish out his coaching and they can move on, like that's way out of bounds, man. That's way far too left. And talking about they don't have a running game, they had a freshman almost rush for 300 yards the last game.
Why? Okay, so why is he throwing the ball so much then? You tell me why.
They didn't throw the ball a whole bunch on Saturday. They ran the ball a lot to try to save the defense. The defense is the biggest problem. Yes, when you have a freshman quarterback who is coming into his first year starting, you're going to have blips. You're not going to just come out here guns a-blazing, 5 wide, throw it all over the place. They were throwing the ball a ton, especially against Oregon because they were down 14. So like, all right, man, we got to score. So like these are developmental things. Like you're developing new talent on the team and you're trying to win games at the same time. I think Coach Day will be perfectly fine. 25-3 and sending a lot of guys to the pros and having one of the highest recruiting rankings out there. I think he'll be perfectly fine. And if anybody else is like you, Reggie, want him out of here, please tell me who you want to replace him.
Okay, now, am I the first person that you've heard this from or not?
You're the first person to call in with that take. I've seen it on the beloved Twitter, the Twitter sphere,
and the boards.
Don't forget about the boards. There's some people out here that don't think Coach Day is any good and everything like that, and I have the same reaction to them as to you. I mean, you're not gonna win every single game, and if you really dissect everything like that, there's really just one program. Just winning hand over fist constantly, and that is Alabama. You know, we try to play like this game that Ohio State and Clemson are on the same level as Alabama. They're not. Clemson just barely won over the weekend. They only scored 14 points. You think they want do you think they want Dabo up out the paint over there in Clemson?
Well, you can say what you want to say, man. It's about the recruiting. Ryan Day did not do his job.
What are you talking about? They've had a top 5 class every year he's been there.
Let's just deal with what's going on right now. That's all we care about. We don't care about the past, man.
Which way do you want it? Do you want it about the recruiting class because the recruiting class has happened in the past, or do you want it right here, right now? Because right here, right now, his record is 25-3, and he's won 2 Big Ten championships, and he's been to the college football playoff every year he's been here.
Ohio State is having a tough time. They are having a tough time on both sides of the football this year, right now.
So just so I'm clear or how your mindset works, after 3 games, after having a 3-game sample size of this season, you want Coach Day up out the paint.
What I'm saying is, okay, this is what I'm saying. If they lose another game,
they're going to lose another game. I'm almost guaranteeing they're going to lose another game. Maybe even two.
Well, hey, he's got to go because that's just the way it is in Ohio, man. That's just the way it is.
So did you want Urban Meyer gone after they lost to Michigan State the year after they won the national championship? Did you want Urban Meyer gone after that game?
Damn near. Because see, the thing of it is, you don't understand what the rivalry is between Ohio and Michigan.
And Tulsa?
It is just like the rivalry between Alabama And
I 100% do understand the rivalry. If Justin and I have this debate about it all the time, and he always asks me about games that I'm worried about on the schedule, and I always say versus that team up north, because I'm old enough to remember when Timbiaka Batuka rushed for over 300 yards and basically got drafted to the NFL. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I remember when Desmond Howard struck the Heisman, and the pain of seeing a kid from Ohio strike the Heisman pose on the Buckeyes. So I'm firmly aware of how important the rivalry is. And yes, Michigan looks good right now, but the great thing about football is you have another game the next week and you are allowed to get better.
Listen. Let him lose to Michigan and see what happens. I guarantee you they're going to get rid of him.
I'll take that bet. I'll take that bet.
Okay, hey, I don't want us to lose. No.
Me neither. I don't want him to lose ever. But to say say that Coach Day should be fired for losing one game is ridiculous.
Every game the rest of the season and they beat Michigan, I can deal with it. But if they win every game the rest of the season and they lose to Michigan, we got a problem, because that's the way it is in Ohio, because we don't want people riding through Ohio with their Michigan flag waving at it in our face. That's just how it is, man. That's how the rivalry is. It's been like that.
So which is it? Which is it? Because you said you want to fire for losing a game, and now you want to fire if he loses the team up north. So you just want this dude fired. Apparently you just don't like the dude, because apparently what he's been doing ain't good enough for you.
See, in your wife's DMs or something, you seem to just really have it out for Ryan Day.
Listen, he can't lose to Michigan, period.
It's not even Michigan week yet.
Yeah,
Reggie,
we got a long time.
Man. Take care, Reggie. I love you, Reggie. But what?
I'm on the other side now. Like, here's the yes, I'm going to be hard on the Buckeyes because I'm a Buckeye fanatic and I want them to win and I want them to play good football and things of that nature. I'm going to be hard on them. And I encourage every fan base to be hard on their team and expect great things from their team. I mean, we're investing time, we're investing money into rooting for our teams and everything like that. But when you get people talking about a coach that is 25-3, 2 Big Ten championships, been to the college football playoff, been to a national championship game, talking about he should be fired after losing to Oregon and having a lackluster performance versus Tulsa, that's insanity. That is insanity, dude. Because if you look at every single coach, and you even the precious Nick Saban, he has close encounters. He had a close encounter with Ole Miss last year. Probably going to have a close game with Ole Miss again this year. Probably going to have a close game with Texas A&M this year. You think Alabama wants him fired? You think the people down in Clemson, South Carolina want Dabo fired because they only scored 14 points this past weekend? Granted, I don't live in South Carolina. I don't live in Alabama. I'm not listening to them talk on the radio, but that is insanity. That is absolutely crazy to say that. There's nothing that Coach Day has done to say like, oh, man, he's not getting it done. He's not getting it done. Guys are getting in trouble off the field. Oh, man, the recruiting rankings aren't this. He's done absolutely nothing to even remotely sniff the word letting go at all. And you know what? We as a fan base need to do our part and have to realize, I know this is college football and NFL are totally different, but after week 1, when the Browns lost to Kansas City, you weren't saying fire Coach Stefanski.
No.
After this week, the Steelers lost to the Raiders. I'm not saying fire Mike Tomlin. So relax a little bit here. Yes, let's be frustrated because we're not playing good football, but chill out, dude, with the firing talk. That's crazy.
Holy moly. So I was in Pensacola last week and I drank a lot.
Yeah, I'm proud of you.
Am I still drunk now? Because what in the hell am I hearing? I figured when I returned that there would be passionate Buckeye fans voicing their concern. But there is concern, and then there is this mess. Fire Ryan Day? What? Huh?
I'm glad KB ain't here.
Holy smokes, folks. Come on. And for you rational Buckeye fans out there, I need to hear from you to balance this out because, oh, man, the crazies are out tonight. Holy moly. Am I still drunk?
No. No, you heard it.
That's disappointing, actually. I'm a little disappointed. But I have to be, because I can't fathom that a sober me would be hearing these crazy things right now. I don't get it. 518-1410. I mean, it's so bad that Shaw, who's joining us now, who's a Michigan fan, Shaw is defending Ohio State in the comment section because of that last caller. That's how crazy today has been. Shaw, welcome in.
How you doing, bud?
Living the dream, man. How are you? What do you got for us?
I bet you are looking all tan coming back from Florida.
It rained a lot. Curse of the kid.
Anyways, this first thing I got to say has got to go to Mr. Kev Nash. Man, I want to shake your hand. I don't know how you didn't lose your stuff on that dude who just called in. I have no idea how you held it, but congratulations, man. Good job. That completely just changed everything I was going to talk about. You're going to fire Ryan Day after he lost to Oregon. Excuse me, and you're struggling a little bit. I'm sorry. Welcome to college football. You could join my fan base who's been struggling for the last, I don't know, since 2007. I mean, you could deal with that for a while. I'm still floored.
I haven't heard a crazy caller like that since you, my friend. So I'm just saying. You're the last person to say something as crazy as that.
What have I ever said that's that crazy? Good
Everything.
Lord.
Remember that time you opened your mouth? That time.
Hey, I'm trying to help you out here, man. I disagree that the offense isn't legit and elite. You are averaging almost 600 yards of offense. How is that not elite? Secondly, you just had a running back run for 277 yards. That sounds pretty elite to me. You're averaging over 200 yards rushing a game. That sounds pretty elite to me. I understand there's struggles there. I'm not blind. I'm not saying that.
I think people are saying the way it looks, because it just doesn't look efficient. That's not people. I think for me, I don't think it looks efficient. I don't think that you can rely on 80-yard bombs. Like, a normal bomb is like 30, 40 yards, but like they're just nothing but big plays. Like there's been very
did the points still get on the board?
Yeah, absolutely. But there's going to be teams that can take away the bomb, and there's going to be teams that aren't going to allow blown coverages to let Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson to be wide open where you can he's just running past the defense and nobody's literally there. Like that's the things like that people are like, hold on, man. Like, well, at least for me, like we got to fix that. I would like to see the offense be a little bit more efficient, and like the drops from the tight ends, the wide receivers, like those things. I think those things can be fixed. I have confidence in Coach Day to fix the offense. The defense is a totally different story.
The defense is a completely different conversation altogether. I mean, I completely there with you, but I guess I had to learn this with the Washington game. Was I happy that Michigan threw the ball for 44 yards? No, I wasn't. Was I kind of upset as the game was going on and I had to kind of check myself? We're dominating this football game. Right. During the game, it doesn't matter how you're scoring the ball or how you're gaining your yards. If you're dominating, you're dominating. I understand the Oregon doesn't look dominating and Tulsa doesn't look dominating, but remember, the defense held them with the last two possessions of the game. In the Oregon game, and this is proving your point, the offenses didn't get the job done those final two possessions, or else we're having a completely different conversation.
Because they kept the safeties back and they didn't allow the big play. And that's why I'm at with it. I'm like, look, man, we have to be able to drive the ball. We have to be able to, if teams are going to force you to go 5-yard chunks to get down the field, we have to be able to take that. And that's what happens when you have a young quarterback. He doesn't want to take that. He doesn't want to take the check down. We talked about this last year with Justin Fields, like the evolution of him saying like, all right, I'm going to take the check down to the running back. He can get 8 yards and we can keep the chains moving. Like that's the evolution. And we're talking about a junior quarterback finally being able to do that. Now we're expecting a redshirt freshman to do that out the gate. And so it's just going to take a ton of snaps before like, all right, I can just throw it out to the running back and he'll just run somebody over and get us a first down. and just to continue that movement. So it's a growth process. But something I wanted to ask you, how you feeling about your boys? How you feeling about them? I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, they're definitely doing what they're supposed to do. And it's like I said, I had to kind of put myself in check a little bit after the Washington game, because you look up and you see 44 yards passing, you're going, what the hell? But at the end of the day, you dominated an offensive line that coming into the season, everybody said was going to dominate Michigan's defensive line. You dominated Washington's defensive line, who everybody said was going to dominate Michigan's O-line. And right now, Michigan's offensive line is mauling people like they haven't been mauling people for years. I'm excited. I'm skeptical on the defensive side of the ball. I like what I see out of the new D coordinator. Multiple schemes, multiple fronts, different packages in the background. It's amazing what happens when the teams don't know what the defensive play call is, how good your defense can look. I think McCarthy is going to be eventually the guy down the road. I just kind of like what you guys are seeing here with CJ is just, except I have a little bit more time with what's his name, Blake, but it's just there's something missing with the offense passing the ball. They're not how you don't want as many dynamic plays. I'm wanting more dynamic out of Michigan's offense, to believe it or not. But if we can continue mauling people up front and running the ball and dominating defensively, I'm okay with it. I think the ceiling has now kind of changed a little bit. And I firmly believe right now our floor is 8-4. And which is a vast different than where I was 3 weeks ago, because I thought the floor might have been 5-7, 6-6. Do I still say Ohio State's number one in the Big Ten? Yes, I do. Do I say it's as giant of a gap as it was before the season? No. But I still think they're drastically number one. And quite honestly, if they played right now, I have Ohio State favored 10+. I don't see where the freak out is. I just don't. Yes, is he missing some passes? Yes, is it all dynamic plays and you're not really getting any drives? Yeah, I agree with that. But at the end of the day, I think you guys realized something going into last week, that, hey, we have a running back here that can run the ball. Your offense from last week moving forward is going to look vastly different than the first 2 games of the year. And it's because you realize you have a stable of running backs that now that's going to be our team. And I think they're going to kind of go the Zeke route and just, all right, we'll feed you guys 44 times a game.
And that saves the defense from being on the field.
Yeah, and it puts the defense back on the sideline where they should be. And if Kerry Combs gets his head out of his tail and quits playing a high school defensive scheme, maybe you guys might actually have a shot. Put a second safety back there and put a third linebacker on the field, and maybe you might have a shot. And start playing actual Big Ten football instead of trying to play everybody like they're Clemson and Alabama. Well, everybody's not. You're not going to have speedsters all over the field. Sometimes you just need to man up and pound somebody, and put a third linebacker on that field, play some 4-3, 3-4, it doesn't matter, and get this nickel stuff off the field and go man up and pound somebody in the face and see what happens.
You're cracking me up. You're cracking me up. You're cracking me up.
What?
See you guys in November.
We're mauling people. Western Michigan.
They are.
Northern Illinois. We're mauling people. That's cute.
It's not just Northern Illinois. It's what they did against Washington. It's what they did against week 1 against Western. I mean, they put 300 yards rushing all 3 weeks.
So you have Buckeye fans who want their coach fired, who's been a great coach because they're not looking as sharp as years past. And you got a Michigan fan who's mauling people.
Dominate on
you
site.
can tell the standards for our teams are just vastly different. Mauling people. Gosh.
Hey, I'll be the voice of reason if I have to be for you Buckeye fans. It's
there
okay.
You go. All right, Shaw. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, man. Peace.
Mauling people. It is crazy to me, the differences in Michigan and Ohio State fans. Michigan fans feel great today. That was a Michigan fan bragging about how they are mauling their opponents, Western Michigan and Northern Illinois. We're mauling people. And then you got Buckeye fans who blow out also a bad team in Tulsa. And because it didn't look aesthetically pleasing enough, they want their coach fired. Woo. Mauling people, fire your coach because you only beat Tulsa by 21. I don't get it. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. 518-1410. Want to talk some NFL now?
Yeah, let's do it.
We will talk some NFL coming up around the corner. Ohio State Akron kicks off this Saturday night, by the way, a night game.
Night game. You going?
A night game. What in the world? Why is that game at night? Akron, Ohio State.
Because it's should be an ESPN game, right? Because Fox has first rights.
Oh, they didn't want that one? I wonder why. So now we're going to see Ohio State play bad teams under the lights at the Shoe because Fox is going to screw the fans over and put them at noon on Saturdays. That's ridiculous. By the way, what's going on at the Shoe? Why 76,000 fans? I guess their lowest attended game since the 70s. Why aren't people going to the Shoe, Kev?
They mad. They big mad.
Did the tickets go up this year? Prices go up this year?
Man, I was looking at tickets for the Penn State game. You know, that's Halloween.
It's like
weekend.
$50 for this weekend's game.
Yeah, I wish the Penn State tickets were that much. Like, no, there were $250 CDEC each.
We're going to see Ohio State pulling Reds, bobbleheads to the first 5,000 fans that show up. 76,000? Come on, Buckeye fans. You're better than that.
Man, maybe I would go up there. Maybe they'll lose another game, then it'll drop.
If Ohio State would just maul people.
I mean, maybe he's right. If they were putting up the scores that Michigan was doing, be packed.
Mauling people. Good. Give me a break.
Maul some people. Dominate on site.
All right, so we'll step away for a few moments. When we come back, Kinner's going to tell you why he was right all along. And he was not a hater. And you guys should have just listened to him from the first place. And by you guys, I mean you Bengals fans. You should have just listened to me from the beginning. Because everything I said was going to happen, last year happened. And everything I said that was going to happen this year has happened. It'd be a lot simpler if you guys would just get on board and realize that I'm right and you're wrong. Life would be so much simpler for all of us. We'll be back. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. I'll tell you why I was right and you were wrong. And Kinner loves in any opportunity he can get to say I told you so. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high near 80. Tonight will be mostly cloudy, also with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a low near 68. And tomorrow will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high near 80. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hey, it's Ariana Grande.
And Blake Shelton.
And I'm so excited to join The Voice this season.
I'll put it on social media so everyone knows. Now get ready to hear the likes pouring in. Darn, the internet must be broken again.
I'll just give it a try on mine, just in case. Huh. Guess they fixed the internet.
The new season of The Voice with Ariana Grande premieres tonight on NBC.
Okay, now you're just rubbing it in.
New surveys show that Americans don't think vaccines are enough to protect themselves and others from COVID-19. 80% want thermometers used in public places to screen for COVID-19. 36% know that non-contact devices are inaccurate, and 60% would not recommend that friends or family members enter places that screen with them. To be safe, use Exergen at home, at work, and in public. It's the only thermometer proven accurate by more than 100 published clinical studies. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Hi, John Glazer here for Glazer Soft Water. We've been making water great since 1988, and no matter what your water issues, we have solutions. Your city water can be clear, but still be hard and have the taste and odor of chlorine. Well water can look, smell, and taste terrible. Glazer Soft Water will fix your water and will even include a 7-year parts and labor warranty so you don't have to worry. Visit our website to learn more at glazersoftwater.com. Glazer Water really is better water.
Frickin' football is here. Frickers has the games on all the screens and you score with savings. Enjoy your favorite ice-cold domestic draft personal pictures for only $6.50. A 48-ounce personal picture for only $6.50. And enjoy a plate of your favorite frickin' nachos for just $7. Take your frickin' pick. Frickin' chicken nachos, Mississippi barbecue nachos, or Nachos Supreme, only $7. This season, don't just be a football fan, be a Nacho fan. At the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Hi, this is Paul Keels, voice of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Keep your home comfort system running smoothly and efficiently with regular checkups from Butler Heating and Air Conditioning. Butler has been proudly serving the Miami Valley since 1949. Don't wait until your equipment breaks. Call Butler today at 937-253-8871. That's 937-253-8871. Go Butler and go Bucks.
Prepare your lawn for winter dormancy with Menard's Premium Fall Lawn Food. It's formulated to provide the needed nutrients to help ensure a healthy lawn come springtime. A 17-pound bag covering up to 5,000 square feet is only $9.99 after sale price and 11% rebate. Get 11% off everything now at Menard's. Good through September 25th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Hi, I'm Sales Manager Jason High at Germain Honda Beaver Creek, proud recipient of the prestigious President's Award. We are your local Honda dealer, and we invite you to see our newly renovated state-of-the-art facility. You'll be amazed at our selection, and remember, all new Hondas come with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit us at Route 35, just east of 675, conveniently located near Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way. I'll see you soon.
The Meyer Distribution Center in Tip City is hiring for warehouse positions in all units. Includes flexible schedules, best-in-class benefits, starting wages up to $18.60, and $2,000 sign-on bonus. Candidates can apply online at jobs.meyer.com. Keyword search distribution. Location Tip City. Or call 937-669-9109. 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. Walk-in interviews are available with on-the-spot job offers. Monday through Friday. 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Call 937-669-9109. Meyer is an equal opportunity employer.
Monster Jam. Coming to Wright State University Nutter Center, October 29th and 30th. Brought to you by BKT Tires and Direct Auto Insurance. Visit monsterjam.com for tickets and event details.
If you think vaccines alone will protect you from COVID-19, think again. More breakthrough cases of COVID variants show that vaccinated people are still vulnerable to the deadly disease. Monitor regularly for fever, as it's the leading sign of COVID-19. Use Exergen, the only thermometer scientifically proven to detect fever. Protect yourself and your family with the Exergen temporal scanner. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Exergen is changing the way the world takes temperature.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
New school, new job, new home. Change is hard and can leave you feeling isolated. And divorce delivers one of life's hardest blows. The relationships you counted on are suddenly gone. But you don't have to walk through this alone. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has guided men through the challenges of divorce. You're not alone. Call Cordell & Cordell.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Dayton area attorneys. 2689 Commons Boulevard, Suite 100, Beaver Creek, Ohio, 45431.
Rise, shine, and dine for just $1.99. Head to Wendy's for a sausage or bacon, egg, and Swiss croissant for just $1.99 during breakfast hours. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's. Limited time only. Price and participation may vary.
NFL fans, the season is finally here. Get your picks submitted at wingam.com. Click on contest and enter the Pro Football Challenge. Weekly winners will win $20 in Frickers Fun Bucks. Get to wingam.com and get your NFL picks submitted now.
Touchdown! Incredible!
Good luck.
All right, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. I was really disappointed to be out last week. People thought I was hiding. Because before I could get into the Bengals' struggles this past weekend, I can't not discuss what happened in Week 1. And Week 1 was very good showing. For one, Jamar Chase. Can't ignore the fact that was one hell of a debut in the National Football League. But one I got a lot of, which was really irritating. Oh, you're wrong about Jamar Chase. I was never wrong about Jamar Chase. I criticized Jamar Chase for dropping balls in preseason, just as if you would praise him for catching balls in preseason. It's really not that hard to figure out. Bengals fans, learn some football, would you? It really isn't that hard. When you drop the ball, that's a bad thing. When you catch the ball, that's a good thing. So when you drop the ball, I'm going to say, hey, you need to work on that. And when you catch the ball, I'm going to be like, hey, nice job. It's really that simple. But yesterday was a whole other work of disastrous art. I mean, my goodness. Yeah, look, the Chicago Bears are an average team. They're not a good team. They're not a bad team. And I think that the Bengals have some of that similar makeup where they have the weapons to be an okay team, but they also have enough flaws to be a very, very bad team. And, you look at the fact that, they beat a non-playoff Minnesota team in overtime last week in Week 1, and then you lose to Chicago in Week 2, and you're in both of those games. This is very similar to last year. I don't see a whole lot of changes, and which is exactly my point, by the way, Kev. I mean, I do need you to tell me when I'm done with my little rant here that, it seems pretty spot on. I said that they didn't get better in the offseason. I don't think that they added some pieces, but I don't think it necessarily made them better because what I am watching is a lot of the same things we saw from Cincinnati last year. Their inability to block for Joe Burrow. All right, they're inconsistent at times. I mean, yesterday you add your pass rusher, and of course he goes and whiffs on the last tackle right there, which of course set up that loss there. Look, the bottom line is Cincinnati. They have way too many flaws for a team that has spent close to $200+ million on that defense over the last couple of years. But I do want to say this because I'm getting way too much of you were wrong about Jamar Chase, that he was the right pick. And as I've stated from the very beginning, going back to last offseason, I don't think Jamar Chase is a bad receiver. I don't think that the McPherson kicker is a bad kicker. I don't think that Joseph Osai is a bad defensive player. It's unfortunate that his season was cut extremely short. It was over before it started. I'm not saying that none of those guys are worthy of being drafted, but you don't get to go draft those pieces when you don't even have the right pieces to move your offense. The offensive line was the most crucial. The Bengals are being punished right now for their inability to prioritize the offensive line in the offseason. Oh, but Justin, they went out and they went and got Riley Rafe. Oh, man, Jackson Carman. Really? How's that working out? Is this team much better? Is Joe Burrow that much more protected? No, he's not. He's already on pace to get hit more times than Andrew Luck did in his first couple seasons and Derek Carr did in his first couple seasons. The dude's getting just beat up. He's getting destroyed. But continue bragging about your wide receiver and Jamar Chase. Continue bragging about your kicker. I never said that the wide receiver was bad. I never said that the kicker was bad. In fact, I drafted the kicker on my fantasy team. Thank you. I'm totally fine with both those players. I never said that they weren't good players. It was just stupid and idiotic for the team to prioritize wide receiver, kicker, and other positions before the number one most important thing, which is the offensive line to protect your quarterback. If you're tuning in and annoyed with, oh, here goes Kinner saying the same old things, I have to keep saying the same old things until it gets through to you because you guys were wrong. Let's just face it. You were wrong and Kinner was right, and that's why you're angry. You're not mad because what I'm saying is wrong. You're mad because what I'm saying is right. And you wanted to be right. You wanted to be Super Bengals delusional fan. You wanted to pretend that a team that's won 6 games in 2 years was all of a sudden going to add Riley Rafe, draft Jackson Carman, ignore all the other top offensive line prospects in the draft, ignore all the free agents that were available to also enhance that offensive line. You wanted to pretend like the Bengals had it figured out. You wanted to pretend like they knew what they were doing. And they've proven again that they don't. That's a damn shame. Because I don't care how many touchdowns Joe Burrow throws, by the way. 3 straight interceptions. Not bad. Pretty impressive. You have to try to do that. That's very impressive. And I'm not saying Joe Burrow's a bad quarterback, and I think that Joe Burrow's struggles are a result of the inability to block for him. And that's unfortunate. It's going to get in the way of his growth process. Joe Burrow's never going to take that next step forward if he's constantly on the run. You haven't even got to see I truly believe, as a Bengals hater, as you like to call me, I do believe we have not even seen the best of Joe Burrow yet. I believe there's a whole other level of Joe Burrow in the National Football League that we have not seen and that we unfortunately may not get to see because, like I said in the offseason, I don't care if you have the best receiving core in football. I don't think they do, but I'm just saying, even if they did, I don't care if you have the number one running back in the NFL. They don't, but let's just assume you did. I don't care if you have every weapon imaginable. All of that is negated if you don't have an offensive line. The Kansas City Chiefs were proof of that in the Super Bowl a year ago. They have the best weapons in football, the best tight end in football, arguably the best receiver in football. They had the best quarterback in football. And all of them looked very, very bad because they did not have an offensive line against that pass rush of the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. It's not that hard to figure out. Sure, they needed a wide receiver. Sure, they needed a kicker. Sure, they needed help on defense. But all of that means nothing if you don't have an offensive line. And guess what? You don't have an offensive line. That was pitiful yesterday. That was pitiful. I'm not making fun of Joe Burrow throwing 3 straight interceptions. I'm making fun of why he threw 3 straight interceptions. The dude's not comfortable. He's not comfortable because he's coming off of a season-ending injury a year ago. That would not have happened had he just not been a human pinball machine. That wouldn't have happened. He was beat up to hell from the beginning of last season until he only made it to, 10 and a half weeks? He's only made it 2 weeks into this season and already the most hit quarterback in the NFL. It's ridiculous. They did not prioritize their investment, which is what I was saying. You guys were so caught up in trying to convince me that they needed Jamar Chase, that they needed the kicker, that they needed Jackson Carman. My goodness, that was embarrassing. I mean, I feel bad for you guys on that one. I think I'll eventually just retire that joke just because that's me showing mercy on you. I don't know what else to say at this point. I just need you guys to finally say, Kinner, you were right. Kinner, you were right. There's nothing wrong in saying that Kinner was right about the team's inability to protect Joe Burrow because it's not an opinion. It's a fact. Look at the box scores. Watch the games. Are you watching the same games I am? It's like he completes a pass to Jamar Chase and you guys wet your pants with excitement and forget that, hey, he finally completed a pass to Jamar Chase after getting sacked 700 million times before he finally got a completion. We all ultimately want the same thing, Joe Burrow to be successful. But the problem is you guys are getting ahead of yourselves. You want the flashy pass game. You want the wide receivers. You want the dominant run game. You want all of those things. But all of those things can't happen if you do not have an offensive line. And I'm eventually going to get bored constantly poking fun at the offensive line. But until then, you are stuck with hearing the same thing every day. That's your punishment for trying to be a fool and defend the Bengals picks and the moves in the offseason. $200+ million in the offseason to build a defense that is slightly improved, but still nothing to be afraid of. As a Browns fan, I'm not afraid of that defense. In fact, I can't wait for when the Browns play the Bengals. I can't wait. In fact, I'm going to that game for my birthday. I cannot wait. So bring it. Bengals fans, I'm going to open up the phone lines to you. It's 518-1410. 518-1410. I want to hear from you. I want you to call in and say, Kinner, you were right. You were right and I was wrong.
I hope you ain't holding your breath.
Oh, look at that. The phone line's lighting up already. Let's hear it. I was wrong and you were right. Let's hear it, Bengals fans. Because it's embarrassing that you continue to defend an organization that just doesn't get it. You could brag about the field goal kicker. You could brag about Jamar Chase. All right, when the main headline of Jamar Chase was his inability to catch a football in the preseason. Now, he had a fantastic debut in the NFL. Can't deny that. I even said, hey, that was pretty damn good. Now, people said I was too slow on addressing Jamar Chase's great debut game in week 1. And you could say I dropped the ball on that. I probably should have been a little faster to commenting on Jamar Chase's great week 1 game. But yesterday, you're going to see way more of yesterday's game than you are going to see of week 1 because you're going to play the Steelers pass rush. You're going to play the Ravens pass rush still twice, the Steelers twice. You got to play the Browns twice. You're in trouble. And all you have to say is, hey, Kinner, you were right. Before we go to the calls, Kev, you got anything on that?
The biggest thing for me watching that, especially the 3 interceptions, it's quite a feat to throw 3 straight interceptions, but 3 straight interceptions in the fourth quarter. Like, that's quite a feat from Joe Burrow.
That's something else he's done that Baker hasn't done. Just throwing that out.
One was Roquan Smith, the linebacker from Georgia, made a heck of a play and got the pick 6. The other one, the DB jumped a route, which he should have saw. He should have never threw that pass. The other one, the guard got walked into his face, and I don't even know if it was a pass or a fumble. All I know is the ball popped up in the air and a fat dude caught it. So we can't sit here and act like the Bears defense is trash. Like, this is a defense like, all right, man, this is going to happen to every team. Because the thing about the Bears, the reason why they made the playoffs last year is because they have an outstanding defense, which keeps them in most games. So you face a Bears defense, and that's going to happen. But like you said, you still have to face the Steelers, who, from my eyes, only have one side of the ball, which is the defense. And then the Ravens, who still have a frisky defense. And then you got to go up against Myles Garrett and the Browns. So the Bengals fans saying like, well, you're not going to see an elite defense like the Bears all the time, where you're going to see an elite defense at least 4 times in your own division with the Ravens and the Steelers. So you can't go to the playoffs without winning divisional games. So that's an issue for me as well. And I do find it remarkable, with 3 straight interceptions in the fourth quarter, the Bengals still had a chance to win the game. So I give them a lot of credit for hanging in there and everything like that. But man, that's a tough way to lose, man. And I mean, there's no doubt about it. This is all on Joe Burrow and the offensive line. Like that loss can be pointed directly at them because the defense did their part. You know, I know Andy Dalton went out with an injury earlier and everything like that, and Allen Robinson dropped a game-sealing touchdown for the Chicago Bears. But for the most part, you know, the Bengals defense kept them in the game, even after 3 straight interceptions thrown by Joe B. So they got to get it together.
Yeah, and I said earlier, to throw 3 straight interceptions is impressive. Not all of that is on him, but you know, this is still on Joe Burrow to a certain extent, because I believe he's the same dude that was a believer in his offensive line. He was he praised his offensive line in the offseason. And by the way, it's week 2. Could the offensive line improve and really protect him against the Steelers this coming up week? And will I change my tune then? I'm not going to flip-flop, but if they pass protect well for him against the Steelers, which I don't anticipate them doing, I will acknowledge that. But let's be clear here. This isn't a different Bengals team. It's the same Bengals team. And Joe Burrow wanted the wide receiver. He wanted the weapons, but of course he wants the weapons. He's a kid. He wants the receivers. He wants the running backs. He wants the fun toys to throw to. But you need the offensive line. Look, Baker Mayfield will have a better year than Joe Burrow because he has an elite offensive line and less weapons than Joe Burrow does. I mean, that's just the reality of it. 518-1410. 518-1410 is the number to call in and join in on the conversation. We're live on Facebook. Head to Facebook, search ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel, subscribe and watch, and leave your opinions in the comment section there. You can also find the show on Facebook. Search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook, and that's where you can have your opinion heard as well. Let's go to the Facebook comments here. And again, Bengals fans, all I'm asking for is a simple, you were right, and I was wrong. I was right, and you were wrong. Coverage sacks. Remember that line? That was my favorite. Last year, Joe Burrow was hit a lot because of coverage sacks. And that's why you needed Jamar Chase. And okay. Well, was Jamar Chase supposed to help with that? Was he supposed to? Where was Jamar Chase yesterday? Coverage sacks. I mean, you guys, you crack me up. If you're going to say foolish things, at least acknowledge when you're wrong. I acknowledge when I'm wrong. I'm just not wrong often. And that pains you. Ron Moreland on Facebook. Let's make sure everyone can read this for those of you watching along. He says, Kinner, you was right, and I'm a Bengals fan. But yes, anyone who doesn't believe you must have, well, I'm not going to make a COVID joke. Come on, Ron, what are you doing? You ruined a great post with a COVID joke. You can't make COVID jokes. But all I got out of that was, Kinner, you were right. And I am right. And I was right. And I'll continue to be right. Nothing was going to change. Doug Toby, he says, Kinner, you were right. Not. Doug, explain. If you're going to say something foolish, now you've ticked me off. Because it's like, yes, I'm having fun saying, tell me I'm right, but you can't say I was not right here. What was I wrong about? I would love to know what I'm wrong about. Was I wrong about the fact that their offensive line was not improved? Was I wrong about the fact that Jamar Chase was not going to help block for Joe Burrow? Was I wrong that this team is still as bad as they were last year? No, I'm right about all of that. So again, you're just being stubborn and you're pushing the buttons, and you got the best of me. I'll give you that one. Nice job. All right. Mike on Facebook says, remember after the draft, the Bengals fans on this show called last year's sacks coverage sacks. Exactly. Thank you, Mike. Coverage sacks. What the hell's a coverage sack anyway? A coverage sack. I know what a coverage sack is. Don't get me wrong. But that's not what the Bengals issues were last year. I mean, my gosh, you guys are embarrassing yourself. Stop with this stuff. You guys are hilarious. You guys are making me laugh. Vincent Waller on Facebook says that Burrow brace yourselves, Bengals fans. Very aggressive criticism coming your way. Burrow looked like trash yesterday, but the Bengals O-line is still garbage. Agreed. The Band-Aids they applied to the line in the offseason aren't going to hold up. Agreed. Vincent Waller goes on to say, but so much for the Browns having the best secondary in the NFL. Am I right, Kinner? Absolutely. You're right. I was wrong. They don't. The Browns do not have the best secondary in football. And I'm going to get into beating up on the Browns defense coming up here in just a moment, because whether it's the defensive coordinator or not, the bottom line is that Browns defense is going to be why they are the exact same. The Browns and Bengals are the same team as last year. Browns really good, Bengals really bad, but they don't look different than last year. The Bengals look the exact same, and the Browns look the exact same, which is a problem because both teams are supposed to be taking the steps forward. So, yeah, you're not going to get me there, Vincent. I'm telling you, I was wrong. The Browns secondary has not lived up to my hype, at least to this point.
So what is the cutoff? Because I'm a 4-week guy. I want to see at least 4 weeks of football, especially in the NFL, before I'm willing to say, like, all right, this is who this team is, before I'm willing to jump out there on a ledge and say this team is trash, this team is good, or this team is elite, yada, 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 put my narrative out there. Like, what is it too early to say what a team is?
It's not too early when the team is the exact same as last year. Like, and bottom line, we have a show every day. We're going to react to a game every week. So you can wait till week 4. Well, I could turn your mic off for 4 weeks. That's totally fine. But I'm going to give you my opinion on who they are right now. And who they are right now is the exact same from what we've seen last year when Joe Burrow was healthy. The poor dude can't even get comfortable in the pocket. Because, and by the way, that's low-hanging fruit. I could easily make fun of those 3 straight interceptions. But I was right off the cusp saying, I'm not even going to blame him for that. When you're a young rookie quarterback, and I'm still calling him a rookie because he hasn't even played a full regular season amount of games yet because of this trash offensive line, he can't even get comfortable. How is he supposed to learn the offense and learn how to play with Jamar? How is he supposed to learn how to play with Boyd and learn how to play with Mixon? How is he supposed to learn this offense when everything they run in practice is nothing like it's run in the game? Because in the game, you actually have guys hitting you. Like in practice, they protect him. They're not going to let the defense hit him in practice. But in games, like, he's not going to get better, Kev. In fact, that was his worst game as a pro, and that's unfortunate. And I think you're going to see more of that. I'm not ripping him. I'm ripping the Bengals. I am ripping the offensive line. Joe Burrow is better than what we saw over the weekend. I'm defending him. He looks as poor as he does right now because of that offensive line, and that is unfortunate because there was way too many cocky people coming at me this offseason saying I was wrong and a hater. I don't see how me saying that he needs an offensive line is me being a hater. I think that makes you delusional.
My comments about that, about week 4, are more about the Browns and their secondary, because in week 1, they went up against the best quarterback in the NFL. And there's no doubt in our minds that, the Ravens have one of the better defenses in the NFL. Well, he lit them up last night, too. So there's no shame in being lit up by Patrick Mahomes because he lights up everybody. Yep. So I don't know if the Browns revamped secondary is any good or not, because it's Patrick Mahomes and he rips everybody up. So I don't know. So that's where I'm at with it. Like, I do believe like there's certain points where, like, all right, you talk about the Bengals and like, well, their offensive line hasn't improved. They've made like one adjustment and, traded some guys that weren't working out. And they had ample opportunity to make the offensive line better, not only through the draft, but free agency, which is where they probably should have spent their money in the offseason getting veteran offensive linemen. But they chose not to, and they didn't even choose to upgrade the offensive line through the draft. So that I got you. And also, we could talk about, like, Big Ben and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, all right, through 2 games, he looked shot as he looked shot towards the end of the season. So I can agree about those 2 narratives, but I can't say that the Browns revamped secondary is trash yet. I got to see more because it's Patrick Mahomes. It's Patrick Mahomes.
Taylor.
That was in a half. And that was 14 points.
That was scary. It
was 14 points.
Oofa. The Texans should have been scored. That's like Tulsa. The Browns are Ohio State, and they were Tulsa. Oofa. Look, by the way, you're like Patrick. Well, I didn't overreact to that. The loss against the Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes does what Patrick Mahomes does. But it is a little disheartening watching Tyrod Taylor have success through the air. Against that secondary. Tyrod Taylor is no scrub, but at the same time, you spend all that money on those secondary pieces for the Browns to come in to help slow down a Patrick Mahomes, but you should shut down a Tyrod Taylor. That's no disrespect to Tyrod Taylor. He's okay. And so, that's why he keeps getting a starting job everywhere he goes. He keeps getting opportunities, but he's that bridge quarterback. I know, guys, that's kind of a dangerous spot to be, but that's not a bad spot to be because you remain employed in the NFL. But they could get, I think they're going to get better, but I think it's a lot of scheme issues, which we'll talk more of that coming up in a moment. But as far as Joe Burrow and the Bengals is concerned, they've lost the benefit. They don't deserve the benefit of the doubt in saying, well, we'll see if they get better next week. They got the Steelers coming up. Joe Burrow was hit. Well, I thought I saw a tweet the other day. He was hit 10.5 times. He was sacked 10.5 times, 6.5 quarters into the season. Like, that's insane to me.
Are you ready for some football?
Last year, he played 10.5 games and was sacked the third most times of any quarterback in the NFL. Congrats on Jamar Chase. Congrats on your kicker. We'll step away. Let's get the names of these callers.
We got Ben, John, and Dickie.
Ben, John, and Dickie. Bengals fans, I want to hear Ben, John, and Dickie. Bengals fans, your calls are the exact next part of this show. I want you to tell me I was right, because I was. And there's no other way I'll accept anything else other than I was right. I was not wrong about the Bengals needing to focus more on the offensive line and free agency, and I damn sure wasn't wrong about the draft. Jamar Chase is great. Okay, that's fine. But that's not helping this team right now. Oh, the kicker. They wouldn't have won against the Vikings if it wasn't for the kicker. That's super. But what's the point of sprinkling in some wins throughout the season if your quarterback doesn't make it to week 17? Or maybe even year 3 of his contract. We'll be back in a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
I'm Serena Williams. You watch me live on TV. So why am I in a British drama you watch on demand?
Fancy a dance, milady?
Sure. It's because DirecTV Stream brings the best of live TV and on demand together.
Oh, you're quite the dancer.
Mr. Jeffries, you're making me blush.
Oh.
Introducing DirecTV Stream, the best of live TV and on demand with no annual contract. Get your TV together at directv.com.
Requires high-speed internet and compatible device. Content varies by package and location. Restrictions apply.
Hey, welcome to Everything Outdoors. Can I help you find anything?
Hey, yeah. Can you point us to the camping gear?
Sure, aisle 2.
Snowboarding? Just bought a new Nissan Pathfinder. It's got intelligent 4x4, and we want to hit the backcountry.
Aisle 18.
And the boats?
Are you sure you can do all this?
Up to 6,000 pounds towing, we're good to go. Oh, where's the scuba gear?
Return to rugged in the all-new 2022 Nissan Pathfinder. Available intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Towing capability varies by configuration. See Nissan Owner's Manual for proper use.
Hello, everyone. It's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Call me today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local.
What are you gonna miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Hour 3, we are back. So we talked a lot of Ohio State football in that first part of the show. Again, Buckeye fans, you guys have been crazy today. Kev and I, we've had a lot of calls from Buckeye fans who have just been adamant that that Brian Day should be fired. Holy moly. Like, I expected some passionate, frustrated Buckeye fans. I did not expect Bengal-level delusional Buckeye fans today. Like, it's hard to reach that level of delusion. And Buckeye fans, some of you have eclipsed that today. Like, that's good for you.
That's scary.
After a week off, to be hit with that right off the bat. I mean, I feel like I'm in midweek form now. So we're off and rolling.
You know what? If Ohio State was crazy, which they're not, Gene Smith's not stupid. If they were stupid enough to fire him, you would be doing everybody else in the Big Ten a favor.
Yep. There you go. I mean, I can't even believe that we had to defend that today. That was pretty impressive. But right now we're talking about the Browns and the Bengals, more so the Bengals right now. I'll transition to the Browns coming up here in just a moment. But I told you so. I'm not one of those. I hate when people say, I'm not one to say I told you so. I am. Because as much crap as I get for pointing out the obvious, that the offensive line should have been more of a priority for the Bengals in the offseason, and all of you laughed at me, I've just been waiting. I was like, that's fine. I'll deal with all the hate. I'll deal with all the people coming at me on social media. I'll deal with everyone just flapping their gums about how I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about, that the Bengals are the greatest thing, blah, blah, blah. No, yesterday was just proof that it's just same team, just different year. I mean, it's really not that hard to figure out that this team's offensive line is garbage. And I don't care how many great receivers you have. I don't care how good your kicker is. I don't care how good a run game you have. I don't care. By the way, nice job, Frank Pollock. I thought he was going to just I thought he was the offensive line whisperer, right? Actually, I do think Frank Pollock's a fantastic offensive line coach. But just like every other position coach in football, when we talk about the best position coaches in football, they usually have the best players at that position. It's not that hard. I don't know of any coach out there that takes non-talent and wins Super Bowls with it. If you could find that, please let me know. Like, I love when we do this. When, like, we bring Frank Pollock in, and all of a sudden he's going to, take the crap and all of a sudden make it smell good. It still stinks. And that's not on Frank Pollock. You got to give Frank Pollock the right ingredients. You can't give him generic, great value brand ingredients. You got to get him the actual name brand. You got to let him get the best of the best so that when he cooks his meal, you are getting the best tasting meal. I don't want no generic great value. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I live off of great value at Walmart. Shout out to them for providing cheaper options for people like me.
Affordable,
not cheaper. Yes, I work in sales. I should know that. More affordable options. So look, but the Bengals are trying to cook you this amazing meal with great value, as opposed to just getting the name brand. They want to serve you just the chocolate cream sandwiches, not Oreos. The Bengals are chocolate cream sandwiches, and the Browns are Oreos. Like, that's like, I want the Oreos. I want the great tasting Oreos. Like, you can't fool me. You can't give me, just because there's 2 chocolate cookies, on the outside of the vanilla cream. It doesn't mean that that's an Oreo. That just means it's just a bland cookie. And the Bengals are a bland cookie, and they need to be the Oreo. You can't fool me. It's a great Oreo is a great Oreo. You can't fix it. You double stuff it. I don't care what you got to do. Just give the Bengals fans the Oreo. Stop giving them the chocolate sandwich cookie. It's ridiculous. Not the great value pizza. Get a Tombstone pizza. What is wrong with you? I don't blame Frank Pollock at all. Frank Pollock, I knew, was not going to have success with this offensive line. I mean, he's not a magician. He's not David Copperfields, okay? He's not going to make something out of nothing. You got to give him something to make something of it. I don't think that the Browns coaching staff is working miracles over there. They just have talent. It's really not that hard to figure out. Look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oh, man, just all of a sudden they just got it? No, all of a sudden they just got talented. You have to have the right coach to push the right buttons, which the Bengals don't have that either, but you got to at least start with the talent. You can't win without the talent, and that's what is really frustrating. Jamar Chase, I'm sure he'll be fine. But right now, you didn't need to get that. Like, it didn't make any sense to go get that wide receiver. You got to learn to walk before you can run. And the Bengals tried to run right out of the gate. Now they're falling on their face. Yes, it's week 2, and I have no problem pulling the old I told you so. Kev, who we got?
We got Ben on line 2.
On line 2, let's go to line 2 with Ben. Ben, how are you, sir? Ben got, we'll go to the next one. All right, who we got now, Kev?
We got John on line 4.
John on line 4. John, are you still with us?
Painfully, yes.
Painfully, yes. So this is
going
to be...
You made it!
Quick question for you. Offensive line, 2 jobs, right? Protect the quarterback and set up the run game. Can you just let me know who's the second leading rusher in the NFL right now?
Oh, great.
Answer the question.
No, your number one job is to protect Joe Burrow.
Answer the question.
No, your number one job is to protect Joe Burrow. What does being the number one running team in football mean right now?
This is the problem. This is the problem with you. All you've done is criticize. You haven't looked at one thing. You said they're no better than last year. Did they have the second leading rusher at any point last year? No. You're just a person who is starting to say stupid things because you don't think about what you talk about. Running game is part of the offensive.
Oh, Johnny boy, 6 wins in 2 years. You're sounding silly.
Stop.
You're sounding
second
silly.
Leading rusher. See, you're sounding silly because you're making all these comments after 2 weeks. Pollock hasn't got a chance. They didn't even have a preseason. You are sounding silly.
They didn't have a preseason? They didn't have a preseason? Huh?
They had a short preseason.
A short?
3 games.
This season started on time. They got a full preseason. What are you talking about? Who's silly now?
They didn't play.
Hey, I know people at the Funny Bone. If you want me to get you a gig out there, I'm sure you can go make people laugh over there.
This is the problem. You won't listen. You just want to talk. You just
say something worth listening to, and I'll listen.
Okay, second leading rusher in the NFL. Respond.
That does what for Joe Burrow?
Thank you very much. End of conversation. Dropping the mic.
Oh, John, don't be an idiot. Listen. Hey, Johnny boy, call back. Let's finish this conversation. You call in and you make stupid points that have nothing to do with the number one priority of protecting Joe Burrow. So, okay, you have Joe Mixon who's having success. Super. That's fantastic. That is awesome. What does that do for Joe Burrow and protecting him and keeping him upright? If you call back, I'll let you answer, Johnny boy. I'll let you answer. Let's hear Johnny, call back. You call in all fired up, making stupid comments about Joe Mixon this, Joe Mixon that. What does that have to do with protecting Joe Burrow? What does that have to do with protecting Joe Burrow? Let's go back to which line is it?
John's back on line 4.
Line 4. So we're on line 4 with Johnny. How you doing, Johnny?
Yeah. Good. My name's John, but I'm doing very well. I'm saying is you said it's no different than last year repeatedly for the past 30 minutes. And what I'm saying very clearly is it is different than last year, is that we're producing a run game, which given time will help to protect Joe Burrow. If you understood football,
how much time we need?
If you establish your run game, I don't think you ever played, but if you establish the run game.
What level did you play at? What level did you play at?
Division 1.
Division 1 where?
Ohio. Miami of Ohio.
That's okay. Miami of Ohio. Okay.
So I'm comfortable with saying this. And I'm saying is that there's.
What position did you play? Were you a punter?
No, thank you.
What were you?
I was an outside linebacker.
So you're very well. So you can talk a lot about the running back and the quarterback. Okay, just making sure.
I'm just trying to say is that you say it's no different than last year, and I'm saying it is. You have the second leading rusher in the NFL, which they never did last year. And it's not perfect. I'm not saying that they're the best offensive line in football. Nobody's arguing that. But we're saying is that it is different than last year. And your comment just over and over again for the past 30 minutes is it's no different. They're establishing the run game. Mixon's had a very good season. Would you agree with that so far?
69 yards yesterday, no touchdowns. I'm sure that's solid.
Who's the number one Russian? Derrick Henry, and he's second. Those are pretty good company.
Titans are better. Titans. What does that have to do with the Titans?
I'm talking about the leading rushers in the NFL right now.
Mm-hmm. What about it?
Okay.
They have good offensive lines.
And the Bengals don't. And Mixon's got the second leading rushing, so they're establishing the run game, which will help. I just think you're saying they're no better than last year. I don't think that's really a fair statement. I mean, and if it makes you feel good or if it gets radio, I mean that's cool. But they have the second leading rusher. You asked for a call about the Bengals and what people thought, and I'm saying that second leading rusher in the NFL after 2 games, which I agree with Kevin, is a little short of a window to make some of the draconian statements that you're making.
Ooh,
but that's okay.
Those college words again, showing off that Miami of Ohio education. I'll see it. I like it.
You're asked for calls. I'm giving you a phone call that says there are things that are different and that are better, and we're happy to call. And I hope you look forward and I mean, hope you acknowledge that the running game is much better than it was last year. So there is differences.
Okay, running game's better than last year.
Is that fair?
Yep, we good.
Okay. And hopefully it helps Burrow in the future, and it helps the Bengals. And hopefully when they play the Browns, it's a really good game, and it's fun for the whole state of Ohio to enjoy.
All right. Well, you're ending on a good note. I'm sorry for blowing up, but yeah, I was rude. My bad. I got to work on that. I'm coming back after vacation. I was all fired up. I was wrong. You were right. My bad.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Adios. I don't think he's right about the Bengals. I'm just saying I was wrong for blowing up the way that I did. I got a problem. Blood pressure pills not working today.
Y'all know what to do in the comments.
That's a clear, obvious thing right here. But I think John's missing the point. I'll call him John again instead of Johnny Boy. So John, getting all fired up about that. The bottom line is, and this has been my point all along, is we're trying to find these small little details of improvement for the Bengals and try to hang our hat on that. But what good is Joe Mixon running the ball at a high level do if Joe Burrow is getting hit 80 times a game? What good is Joe Mixon being what he is without an offensive line to protect not just Joe Burrow, but Brandon Allen, next number 1 pick at quarterback for the Bengals after his career ends early because of how much he's hit? Like, that's my whole point about this. So you can call in and talk about, Joe Mixon, he's had success 2 games in the season, which, again, as I said yesterday, I mean, 69 yards, no touchdowns. It's just, it was okay, whatever. Bottom line is what good does that do? If Joe Mixon goes on to lead the league in rushing this year, what good does that do if Joe Burrow is injured for the season by week 9? That's what I'm trying to say. Like when the Bengals drafted Jamar Chase, I said, super, kid's talented, but the Bengals don't need him right now. What good is he if they can't keep Joe Burrow up long enough to throw it to him? What good is he if Joe Burrow ends up getting hurt again because they're not protecting him? So stop wasting my time and everyone's bragging about the improved run game and about Jamar Chase and about, that amazing kicker. All of that means nothing because the only reason those things all mean something is because of Joe Burrow. And if Joe Burrow goes out again, like I said, what happened last year, and it did, what good is Jamar Chase? What good is the kicker? What good is Joe Mixon? What good is Frank Pollock? What good is everybody if Joe Burrow is injured and not out on the field? Because the only reason that the Bengals were aggressive in going to get Jamar Chase and others is because they had Joe Burrow. If they had Andy Dalton, they're probably not taking Jamar Chase at number 5 overall. They took Jamar Chase number 5 overall because they had Joe Burrow. But the problem is they got too excited about that Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase connection that they forgot about the most important factor of protecting Joe Burrow. You could have got another Jamar Chase later. And by the way, I'm seeing people comment about Penei Sewell and his struggles early on. But at least if they would have taken Penei Sewell and Penei Sewell would have struggled, the Bengals could have at least protected themselves by saying, hey, any other team that needed an offensive lineman was going to take him. He was graded as the best offensive lineman in the draft. And we would have said, okay, but they made the right smart pick. The right pick was Penei Sewell because that was at least saying, hey, we're at least trying to protect our quarterback. It's getting Jamar Chase and taking a chance on Jackson Carman. That wasn't protecting your quarterback. And that's the problem I have with all of this. So I apologize for blowing up on my first day back on Mr. John, linebacker, Miami of Ohio back in the day. My apologies to him. However, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because I don't care if Joe Mixon leads the league in rushing. I don't care if he sets the regular season rushing record this year. If Joe Burrow is out for the season with another season-ending injury by week 9, what good does that do? All of that means nothing if Joe Burrow is not upright and playing at a high level. And the only way he could do that is not if Joe Mixon's running the ball well, not if Jamar Chase is playing well, is if the offensive line's playing well. And until that happens, I don't care about anything else. I don't care if you have a good kicker. I don't care if you have a good running back. I don't care if Jamar Chase is super. I don't care about any of that because as long as Joe Burrow is getting hit at the clip that he is already, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And that's been my point all along.
Rashawn Slater's been outstanding for the Chargers, the offensive tackle from Northwestern. He's actually been playing better than Penei Sewell. So, it's that for me. I think the biggest thing for me think the biggest thing for me, just from the outside looking in, because I don't know why I need to say this, but I'm not a Cincinnati Bengals fan. I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. But just as a football fan, and it's a team that we cover here on the show, if I'm a Bengals fan, I'm more upset that they didn't use money in free agency to get offensive line help, veteran talent help. That's where, because the Jamar Chase thing, I love it. I actually love it. And, you know, it's only week 2, but he's been playing the best of the rookie receivers so far. And that's what we want. That's what you want. But the money that they spent on the defense should have been spent on veteran offensive linemen. And there were a ton of veteran offensive linemen out there for the picking. We talked about Joe Thuney going to Kansas City. He was available. Even the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, I know we'll talk about the Ravens probably tomorrow and everything like that, but one of my biggest harps to one of my buddies about the Ravens was the GM from the Ravens is garbage, because you've traded Orlando Brown, your starting offensive tackle, to the best quarterback in football and made him more comfortable. So you took away from your team to make the team that you got to go through better. So he was up for grabs. Orlando Brown was up for grabs. And so that was another guy out there that the Bengals could have potentially had. And I know they'd be like, oh, they wouldn't have traded him in the division.
He's less of a threat to them in Cincinnati than he is in Kansas City.
Exactly.
And they play Cincinnati twice a year.
Exactly. So if you're going to trade him to Kansas City, they would have traded him to the Bengals. So it was a multiple of guys out there, established players. So you didn't even have to gamble on like, all right, man, hopefully, you know, Rashawn Slater will work out. Hopefully this guy will work out. We're drafting the guy. These are established NFL players that have the man weight on them, that know what they're doing, and you're ready to rock and roll, and you can protect Joe Burrow. And then you can go get, you know, Jamar Chase, and you can have veteran offensive linemen and outstanding quarterback and outstanding wide receiver. But they didn't do that. They spent that money on some guys on defense. I'd rather spend my money on some above average veteran offensive linemen than some guys on defense. And the Bengals chose to do the former. And that's where I would have a problem if I'm a Cincinnati Bengal fan. I wouldn't necessarily have a problem that they drafted Jamar Chase if they went and spent that money on veteran offensive line help. That's where I'm at with it. Like, when they did that in the offseason and on the defense, well, I was like, well, of course they're going to get the offensive lineman, but they chose to get the wide receiver. So it's like a double whammy. You didn't address it in the free agency and didn't address it during the draft. Those are your two opportunities to make your offensive line better, and you failed to do that at both turns. So if he does get hurt again, there's nobody to blame but besides the front office, because you had ample opportunity to do it. And it's not like a situation like with the Pittsburgh Steelers where you're basically strapped for cash because you have to pay, you know, TJ Watt, and then you got to pay Minkah Fitzpatrick. You know, you have to do those things. So you can't, you know, go out there and make big splashes in free agency or offensive line. But they had the capital. They had the money to drop on those players, but they chose not to. They chose to get some guys on defense. I'm cool on that. I'd rather protect my quarterback than do that, because if you spend the money in free agency, nobody's talking about, oh man, why did they draft Jamar Chase? They would be saying like, oh man, they drafted Jamar Chase. They had a connection. Everybody would say that, not just the fans. You would say it, I would say it, because they would have took care of the offensive line already. That would be one less thing they had to worry about. That's a bad move, man.
Yeah, and like I said, the Joe Mixon thing. Super. If he goes on to lead the league in rushing, which he won't, but let's say he goes on to lead the league in rushing this year, Kev, and Joe Burrow gets sacked a ton and he's out by week 9 for the rest of the regular season, then what? Are people going to be calling in saying, yeah, who cares about Joe Burrow? We got Joe Mixon, baby. No. Joe Mixon running the ball at the level that he is 2 weeks into the season. Joe Mixon needs an MVP level Joe Burrow to be an even better version of Joe Mixon. The Bengals have some of the pieces they need to be successful, but they're missing the most important piece, and that is that offensive line. And look, it is what their fans are calling in, getting passionate, getting excited. I'm getting even more passionate. I'm even getting more excited because I'm right. Kev, what we got next?
We got Matt on line 2.
Let's see. I'm going to try and do my best to keep my cool here. We got Matt on line 2. Matt, I promise I was rude to John, and I was wrong. Not wrong about my take in that conversation. I was wrong for how I handled myself. So I'm going to work on myself in this conversation, depending on how you talk. So, Matt, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I agree with Kev because if the Bengals knew they were going to take Burrow 2 years ago, they should have signed Conklin that Cleveland signed.
Mm-hmm.
And they should have got Tooney. They should have got Zeitler. They could have even traded for Orlando Brown. That would have been one of the best offensive lines that you could put anybody behind. And that's what irritates me with the Bengals is like, if you know Burrow's your franchise QB, then protect Andy, you know? And that's the thing that
repeat that real quick. You cut out right there. Will you repeat that last part? Sorry about that.
Oh, I said if they know Burrow is their franchise QB, protect him. Put a bubble around him. Make sure that nobody's in a pocket.
Yeah, that's your number one asset, your number one priority. And, you know, it doesn't matter if you have all these great receivers and a good running back and let's say a solid defense. Okay, sure, you could probably win games without Joe Burrow if you have a great defense and an okay run game and some receivers. I don't know who your quarterback's going to be, but you're not going to get to the promised land with Brandon Allen at quarterback. Your best shot is Joe Burrow, and the best way to do that with Joe Burrow is to protect him. And that was my take back in the offseason, Matt, was about the fact that, okay, if they should have been, even if they would have put all their money into Tooney and Orlando Brown and other guys like that, and they didn't address the defense and they had the worst defense in the league, I'm not going to fault the Bengals for having the worst defense in the league because we got to see a team that invested in their quarterback. And if they would have shown the fans that, hey, we really care about Joe Burrow, well, that, and again, I think people don't care about this because it's the Browns, but the Browns did that. The Browns made sure that they spent every dime on their offense to protect Baker. And then once they got Baker protected, look what they did this last offseason. That's when they went after Williams and some of their other guys.
And another thing, real quick, man, I just want to say this. And another thing, like, just remove all that, like the importance of winning and everything like that. It is far more entertaining to have a high-powered offense than having a great defense. Yeah. I am a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Our offense is absolutely terrible because our quarterback appears to be shot. Our defense is outstanding, but ain't nobody tuning in for that. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody tuning in to watch, the Steelers make, Buffalo Bills go 3 and out 8 straight times. Like, that's exciting for me because I'm a fan of that team. But like the average person, if they're tuning in, they want to see some fireworks. They want to see the ball move up and down the field. So,
but you also want to see your defense stop them, but then you want to see your offense score a couple points so your defense doesn't have that pressure on them all the time.
Right.
And that's the thing that, like, both of you have said is a high-powered offense. Yeah, if you outscore them, you win the game, no matter if it's a 50-49 game. Who cares how much your defense is going to give up? You can always address that next year.
Yep.
But you have to have the offensive line to move the ball. I don't care if you're running it, throwing it, doing trick plays or anything. You have to have the big guys up front to move the ball down the field.
I agree with you.
I wish we would have got Conklin, which Cleveland got, Tooney, Zeitler, and even if we couldn't have even got Antonio Brown, there's at least 3 guys right there that, like you said, Kev, were established. And at least Burrow then would have been upright 90% of the time.
It
just frustrates me because I know Mike Brown pinches pennies all the time. And it's like, man, if he has what they say, Bengals always are like, oh, we have deep pockets. Well, then let's start spending it. Just like Jesse Bates. We need to sign him.
Well, to be fair, Matt, real quick, I don't think Mike Brown's cheap. I know that sounds crazy. I don't think he's cheap. I think, like, for instance, I don't think my fiance ever thinks that I'm cheap, but I think she thinks I'm horrible with money. I spend my money. I just don't spend it properly. And that's Mike Brown. Mike Brown has money and he spends it. All right. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think, and he usually spends money on his guys, which is why Bates kind of fascinates me that they haven't got that deal done yet.
Right.
I could see why he's not aggressive in free agency. He likes to pay his own guys. That's always been Mike Brown. That's why the Bates thing really surprises me. But they've spent $200+ million on that defense the last 2 years. And I just don't think that you would think with that type of money invested in the defense that they would have a defense like the Buccaneers. You know what I mean? Like, they should have the best defense in the AFC North with that money. And they're not even the third or fourth best, or they're not even the second or third best defense on their own.
They aren't.
So,
well, what would have been nice is if they would have even addressed the linebacker position. Get a veteran in there. Yeah, Logan Wilson's great. Pratt, yesterday, missed that tackle big time. It looked like he was just standing still. But I don't know. It just, being a Bengals fan sometimes really sucks.
Well, Matt, see, if more people are like you, I wouldn't get so fired up all the time. Not just because you know. Now, again, I was wrong. I blew up on that last caller. I got I got too full of myself on that last caller. I still think he's wrong, but I'm glad we can have a rational conversation. So thank you.
Well, hey, it takes a big person to admit when they're wrong too. So you know what, Justin, you're on the right path, buddy.
I am. Thank you so much, Matt. Take care.
Hey, thank you. You too. Bye.
All right. 518-1410, 518-1410. Yeah. So it is what it is. You know what? I don't know what I mean. Look, I feel like it's the same points every week, and that's how it's going to be moving forward.
Long season.
Team's the same. It's the same. Oh, the running back's a little better. That's super. Was the Bengals front office goals to say we got to do everything we can to help Joe Mixon have a good season? No, it should have been we got to do everything we can to help Joe Burrow have a great season. Kev, who's up next?
We got McKinney on line 4.
Line 4.
The commissioner.
The commissioner. How are you, sir?
Tremendous, my friend. How are you guys this fine, bright, sunshiny afternoon?
Holy moly. I've never seen you on a bad day, but this is like a really, really good day for you. I like the energy.
Man, I've really enjoyed listening to the show today. Good to have you back. I hope you had a great vacation. Missed you guys. National shows aren't the same kind of juice that a real local show has. So let's talk about some real football. First of all, what you said about the Cincinnati Bengals is absolutely true. Your job is to protect my most valuable jewel, and that is my quarterback. And the one thing that they did that messed up that was not keeping Giovanni Bernard, because he understands blitz pickup. He understood line calls. He understood all that. Everybody wants to be part of the pass pattern. They want to get out. They forget about the blocking schemes. They forget about chipping somebody before they come across the line. That was money that they could have spent. Did I want them to get Jamar Chase? Yes, I did, because the Bengals were number 32 out of 32 teams in passes over 40 yards. They can't be that bad. So I understand why they went and got the wide receiver. But the way that I've always believed about building teams, it's offensive line, defensive line, quarterback, coach, owner. When you have things lined up in that order, you will get results that you want. Our coaching staff of the Cincinnati Bengals is improving, but they haven't improved that greatly. They have improved. I'd move them up from a minus to an even grade. But the one thing that I haven't heard people talk about is everybody's darling Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs right now should be 0-2, not a Super Bowl favorite. They should have already lost 2 games because the Browns had them, and then they got beat yesterday. So they should be 0-2, and people scrambling and with their hair on fire like they're doing about our Cincinnati Bengals. And I do claim them as my team because I've been with them since day one. But I don't say us. You know what I mean?
It's those unwritten rules. It's those unwritten rules.
Hey, man, I'm coming in with my spikes up and coming into second base. You know, that's what you have to do. You have to make sure that your guys are protected. The Browns have improved, but every year there's going to be 6, 7 teams that weren't in the playoffs last year that are going to be in the playoffs this year. And there's going to be somebody's darling that's not going to be. If the Cincinnati Bengals don't start protecting Joe Burrow, he will be Andrew Luck, David Carr, and all those guys that got shell-shocked in year 3 because they had been blitzed 50 times a season. We must stop that immediately. It shows that how big scouting is now. When Bengals had coaching staff that could go out and look at guys that were all over the place and in different regions of the country, they don't have those same time of old school guys now. They got guys that are Zoom call coaches. I don't want to see a Zoom call coach watching the all-22s. I want somebody to go out and see a guy in person because there's nothing worse then you see somebody on Sunday or even Saturday afternoon, and you look at your boy sitting next to you on the couch and go, dude can't play. That is horrible. That is a horrible thing to look at your team and you go, man, dude can't play. And if you can see it watching TV, how does a coach making $250,000 a year not see that? I don't get it. Not at all.
Bobby Hart agrees.
But I know the first hour I was driving and listening to the show, and I understand that, you know, the sentiment of some of the fans, but before I go, I just want to say, y'all in trouble.
Take care, McKinney. Always great. OH, oh, that's right up there. Remember when they lost to Clemson years ago?
I don't want to talk about it.
Buckeye fans are mad at me because I was doing the OH 31-0, you know, but OH, McKinney is right. OH, that is for
What if
sure.
they wanted Herb fired after that?
Yeah, they wanted an extension, but he said, we will make sure this never happens again. And then he followed up that performance with the 30-point loss to Iowa and a 30-point loss to Purdue. So there you go. All right. Well, that got heated, just like I thought it would. I had no composure. Flag on the play. 15-yard penalty.
I'll blame myself.
On Kinner. That's because where were you? You're supposed to keep me in line, and you're over there just letting me go. I was like I was drowning, and there was no one there to pull me out.
Probably.
Typical Kinner. Blame everybody else for his problems. But no, in all seriousness, I was really rude to John, and I will apologize for that. Still think he's wrong. I will continue to say that, but I was out of line. It is something like my bosses get mad at me all the time. They say, Kenny, you got to stop acting like that. And I say, I'll work on it. And then I'll go 2-3 weeks without it. And then all of a sudden one comes up. I'm coming a week off of vacation. You think I'd be in a better mood? Maybe it's because I'm not on vacation still. I don't know what it is.
I think we found it.
You know, a week ago today, I was on the beach with a beer in my hand. Actually, no, I was on the boat a week ago. Today, don't matter. The bottom line is now I'm arguing with Bengals fans, which is my second favorite thing to do, besides drinking, of course. All right, folks, we'll be back in a moment. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. We'll talk a little Browns on the other side. Someone just asked this question, and it's an intriguing one. Let me find it to make sure. So this is about Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield. I forgot where the heck it went. Oh, Jeff on Facebook says, hey, Justin, I'm a huge Browns fan. He has a question. He says, would you take Burrow over Baker? Talking about in Cleveland. Good line, good receivers, good backs. I was asked that this weekend, and he's curious my answer on that. So put Joe Burrow in Baker Mayfield's spot. How much better are the Cleveland Browns? We'll discuss on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Home delivery becoming a bit boring? Then isn't it time to visit one of Marion's Piazza's 9 Dayton area locations for some award-winning pizza? Marion's has been delivering the taste, the quality, and the value for over 50 years. So it comes as no surprise that Marion's Pizza has been voted Dayton's best pizza in over 40 local surveys and ranked #1 in the nation by Pizza Today magazine. Next time, why not come in for the pizza that really delivers? A Marion's Pizza. After all, we at Marion's believe that quality speaks for itself.
Hi folks, it's me again to let you know that we've just unloaded a semi-load of fresh new landscape plants of all types. We have nice dwarf Alberta spruce, mugo pines, taxus, pyramid arborvitae for privacy hedge, lots of nice boxwoods, magnolias, white pines, dwarf blue spruce, topiary shrubs, fat Albert blue spruce, and dwarf Japanese red maples, and dozens of other varieties of shrubs. We also have thousands of shade trees, flowering trees, and fruit trees, and weeping trees. One of the most popular trees is the Cleveland Select Flowering Pear, which blooms in the spring with nice white blossoms. Every yard should have one. Our 6-acre garden center at 1309 Brand Pike is Dayton's biggest, and we've been in business since 1963. Come out and see why.
Oh, according to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. That means that 82% of you listening right now will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. If you're hiring, 82% of you will recall that ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier. And 82% of you will note that you can try ZipRecruiter for free today. But you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/find. 82% of you will keep in mind that ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified people for your job and actively invites them to apply.
Scott, is that you? Who are you talking to?
82% of you will also know that I live with my mom. But the most important thing to note is that ZipRecruiter works. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Will you be part of the 82% who remember where you can try ZipRecruiter for free? It's ZipRecruiter.com/find. Again, that exclusive link is ZipRecruiter.com/find. That's ZipRecruiter.com/find.
Shop the Just for Pros event at Lowe's now through September 24th to save big on top tool brands like Bosch, DeWalt, and more. Lowe's, the new home for pros. Valid through 9/24 U.S. only.
Call William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning at 937-222-8638 for reliable Lennox products that can make the air in your home absolutely perfect. Ohio license number 14911.
Oktoberfest at Milano's has begun. We're serving our once-a-year favorites like schnitzel sandwiches and German pizza. Get it to go or stay for the games with NFL Sunday Ticket. See you at Milano's Pizza, Subs, and Taps for big screen football.
Collett Propane is proud to serve the greater Miami Valley. 98% of our customers would recommend switching over to Collett Propane. Summertime is the best time to switch suppliers. Tank set specials are available now. Purchase options like budget billing and pre-buy are available too. Collett Propane keeps things simple. Find out more online at collettpropane.com or visit us in Xenia, Wilmington, or Lebanon. Collett Propane, proudly keeping the Miami Valley warm for over 65 years.
In 2007, Marine First Lieutenant Travis Mannion was killed in Iraq after saving his wounded teammates. Travis's legacy lives on through the 5 words he spoke before leaving for his final deployment. If not me, then who? Words that today fuel the spirit of Travis Mannion Foundation. Words that live in veterans, families of the fallen, and inspired civilians who go out of their way to find a way, who help others with the help of others, who bounce back after each setback, who make good on good intentions. Through Travis Mannion Foundation, if not me, then who, are words that can live in you too. Show the world what your character is made of, because character is invisible until it's not. Find out how you can strengthen the character of your community alongside empowered veterans, families of the fallen, and inspired civilians at travismannion.org. That's travismannion.org.
The Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Help Center brings the courthouse to the community with its weekly outreach programs to local churches, libraries, and community centers. We help you navigate the legal system. Find a location near you at courthouse2u.com. Brought to you by Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Mike Foley.
That was some storm, huh? Did you lose power?
Yeah, but I thought I didn't have to worry about that when I got solar.
Well, when the grid goes down, they shut us down too.
I found that out, but your lights stayed on last night.
Solar backup batteries. That's real energy independence.
OGW Energy Resources has been attending the Miami Valley solar needs for over 14 years. Visit OGWEnergyResources.com for more information. OGW Energy Resources. Your energy, your future. Control it.
Great tasting Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, and nutrients to support immune health. Those who tried Ensure Max Protein reported feeling more energy in just 2 weeks. For consumer survey details, visit Ensure.com.
Weather is brought to you by Collett Propane, making buying propane easy since 1952, offering budget billing and pre-buy options. Find out more at CollettPropane.com.
Hey, it's Ariana Grande.
And Blake Shelton.
And I'm so excited to join The Voice this season.
I'll put it on social media so everyone knows. Now get ready to hear the likes pouring in. Darn, the internet must be broken again.
I'll just give it a try on mine, just in case. Huh. Guess they fixed the internet.
The new season of The Voice with Ariana Grande premieres tonight on NBC.
Okay, now you're just rubbing it in.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Frickin' football is here. Frickers has the games on all the screens and you score with savings. Enjoy your favorite ice-cold domestic draft personal pictures for only $6.50. A 48-ounce personal picture for only $6.50. And enjoy a plate of your favorite frickin' nachos for just $7. Take your frickin' pick. Frickin' chicken nachos, Mississippi barbecue nachos, or Nachos Supreme, only $7. This season, don't just be a football fan, be a Nacho fan. At the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Oh, according to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. That means that 82% of you listening right now will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. If you're hiring, 82% of you will recall that ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier. And 82% of you will note that you can try ZipRecruiter for free today. But you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/find. 82% of you will keep in mind that ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified people for your job and actively invites them to apply.
Scott, is that you? Who are you talking to?
82% of you will also know that I live with my mom. But the most important thing to note is that ZipRecruiter works. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Will you be part of the 82% who remember where you can try ZipRecruiter for free? It's ZipRecruiter.com/find. Again, that exclusive link is ZipRecruiter.com/find. That's ZipRecruiter.com/find.
So sticky.
At Hannah's Organic Honey, business may be sweet, but they need an e-commerce queen bee to lead the hive.
Okay, these jars are going to Jakarta. Oh, wait a minute. Does that say Jackson?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Schedule virtual interviews and talk to candidates right from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
O'Reilly. It's O Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts, where you can earn double, triple, even up to 5 times O Rewards points on select purchases. Get bonus points on more than 200 items throughout the store, like wiper blades, fuel system cleaners, motor oil, and more. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Over the last year and a half, we all learned some hard lessons. One of the most important is that you can't put off the inevitable. Hi, this is Mark Davis at Dayton Memorial Park Cemetery and Mausoleums. No matter how hard it is to think about, we all need a final resting place. When pre-planning with your funeral home, please remember that cemetery arrangements must also be made. Call us today at 937-890-1831 or visit our website at DaytonMemorialPark.com. And remember, Dayton Memorial Park is a beautiful place to celebrate life.
Monster Jam. Coming to Wright State University Nutter Center, October 29th and 30th. Brought to you by BKT Tires and Direct Auto Insurance. Visit monsterjam.com for tickets and event details.
Guys, stop putting your love life on hold. U.S. Pharmacy has some exciting news. If you've been wanting to try Viagra or Cialis, now's the perfect time. Call today and receive 90 little blue or little yellow pills for only $119 with free shipping. Why order some low-dose sildenafil from one of those subscription services when we can give you what you want now? call 800-990-6271 and we'll rush your order discreetly packaged to your door. Been thinking about trying Viagra or Cialis? Call U.S. Pharmacy at 800-990-6271 for as little as only $119 for 90 pills. Need your package in a hurry? Call 800-990-6271 and ask about our express shipping option, and we'll rush your order to you as soon as possible. Save money on the little blue or yellow pill you've been wanting to try. Again, 800-990-6271 now. That's 800-990-6271.
Is fall your favorite season? Lowe's is definitely the place to get ready for it. From fall garden gear to seasonal decor, they have it all at a great price.
Oktoberfest at Milano's has begun. We're serving our once-a-year favorites like schnitzel sandwiches and German pizza. Get it to go or stay for the games with NFL Sunday Ticket. See you at Milano's Pizza Subs and Taps for big screen football.
I'm Serena Williams. You watch me live on TV. So why am I in a British drama you watch on demand?
Fancy a dance, no idea?
Sure. It's because DirecTV Stream brings the best of live TV and on demand together.
Oh, you're quite the dancer.
Mr. Jeffries, you're making me blush.
Oh.
Introducing DirecTV Stream, the best of live TV and on demand with no annual contract. Get your TV together at directtv.com.
Requires high-speed internet and compatible device. Content varies by package and location. Restrictions apply.
Hey, welcome to Everything Outdoors. Can I help you find anything?
Hey, yeah. Can you point us to the camping gear?
Sure, aisle 2.
Snowboarding? Just bought a new Nissan Pathfinder. It's got intelligent 4x4, and we want to hit the backcountry.
Aisle 18.
And the boats?
Are you sure you can do all this?
Up to 6,000 pounds towing, we're good to go. Oh, where's the scuba gear?
Return to rugged in the all-new 2022 Nissan Pathfinder. Available intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Towing capability varies by configuration. See Nissan Owner's Manual for proper use.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
See Columbus Equipment Company, 7570 New Carlisle Pike in Dayton.
If you've had a car accident, the first call should be to Blake Maisland.
That's right. With the sun going down a little earlier, with the leaves on the road, with the rain, it just lends itself to more injuries. You just have to remember, you only need one number, and that's the number 4. We are here for you 24 hours a day.
444-4444 or wantmore.com. Your organization will give you an absolute free evaluation.
And we work the case for you for free all the way through unless we win.
You have rooted yourself in Dayton.
Sure. Well, we all are in Dayton together. And when things happen, everybody needs to come together and everybody has something to offer. I'm lucky enough that I went through law school. Everyone in our own firm brings a talent and we make sure that whatever's necessary for your case to win it, that's what we do.
444-4444 or online at wantmore.com. Attorney Blake Maisland. He's there to help 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That was some storm, huh? Did you lose power?
Yeah, but I thought I didn't have to worry about that when I got solar.
Well, when the grid goes down, they shut us down too.
I found that out, but your lights stayed on last night.
Solar backup batteries. That's real energy independence.
OGW Energy Resources has been attending the Miami Valley solar needs for over 14 years. Visit OGWEnergyResources.com for more information. OGW Energy Resources. Your energy, your future. Control it.
Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski said earlier today that Jarvis Landry will be week to week moving forward. So now Baker Mayfield will be without his top 2 receivers. And, of course, Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. And I should be more concerned about that than I am. I'm not saying, look, you need Jarvis. Like, that's the, if I had to pick, look, I think the more skilled is clearly OBJ, but I think the most important wide receiver on this Browns roster for Baker Mayfield is clearly Jarvis Landry. So him being out for a long period of time, Kev, could be a little alarming. But week to week, hopefully it's a couple weeks. But I think that right now, as long as that O-line's healthy and as long as you got Chubb and you have Hunt, I think that the Browns are fine. The Browns haven't been super impressive passing the ball this year. 2 weeks in, but they're picking up right where they left off.
You don't think so?
Look, Baker's been efficient. He leads the league in pass percentage, right, and completion percentage right now. I know he has 2 interceptions, whatever. Bottom line is you could throw an interception every single game of the season, and you're still going to be right in that mid range. Like, it's not an overly I don't expect Baker to ever have a season where he only throws 8 interceptions. Like, I can't believe that was the case last year. I really don't. Like, I don't believe that's going to be the case moving forward. I don't think he's ever going to throw 20 plus interceptions again. Now, maybe he will when that O-line takes a step back after they have to pay him. But for right now, I don't anticipate the numbers to be huge. The one pick, and again, they talked about the rookie wide receiver who was supposed to come back to the ball and he didn't. That technically wasn't on Baker, but I hate when people make those excuses. It goes down as a pick. It goes down as a turnover. But no, the Browns are a running team. I'm not saying it's not a big deal that Jarvis Landry is out, but to me, I think that as long as they keep handing the ball off, I think the Browns are going to be fine, and I think they're still in good shape. Baker's, again, leading the league in completion percentage. That's solid. I'd like to see a little more out of the pass game. I really would. I desperately would love to see more out of that pass game. It's a little
Did he throw for like 350 in week 1?
And they had a lot of success early on, but down the stretch, he started dipping off. That was frustrating. But it is like, big picture, you look at that game, you're like, man, the Browns are right there, but they also let that game go. Like, Baker took a step back, the defense took a step back, like they weren't to close the game at the most important time. I thought a lot of guys didn't step up what they needed to. I thought Baker getting that ball with 2 minutes to go, a chance. I was like, he gonna get paid right there. Mm-hmm. Baker had a chance to get paid right there. Baker would have marched them down the field to beat Kansas City in week 1. Baker's probably paid by now. Maybe I'm being a little dramatic, but you know what I mean? Like, that was his moment. As far as that goes. So we'll see.
It's kind of like that we were talking about in the playoff game where Kansas City had the ball for like 8 minutes to wind down the game. And, everybody in Browns country was saying like, man, if we could have just got the ball back. Well, you get that opportunity in week 1 and, he tries to throw it out of bounds. It gets intercepted and that's ball game. So, you get your opportunity and then it gets, you throw a turnover. And I know a lot of people put that on Baker and then, interception. But like, don't forget the punter muffed the punt. Nick Chubb fumbled, gave up one play, 75-yard. Like, a lot of things had to go Kansas City's way / the Browns' other way for Kansas City to pull that game off. So, and that's why I never a guy who I know how the NFL is. They build it as the quarterback matchups. Them dudes not playing against each other. I think Baker played outstanding in week 1, and I think he'll continue to be great as long as the Browns are playing on their terms. And when I say on their terms, they're dictating what happens. Now, there's going to be instances where they're going to go up against teams that are going to force them to pass the ball when they don't really want to pass the ball. Like, nobody wants to pass the ball on 3rd and 18. But there's going to be teams out there with damn good defenses that force that, and that's where Baker's going to have to, quote unquote, earn his money. And I think he can do that.
All right. Well, this show went by quick today. I was excited to be back after a week off. I think, John and I are best friends. We're going to go out for a beer after the game. So Browns and Bengals, their week 3 matchups coming up. Just taking a look again here on this Monday. Browns and Bears coming up this Sunday, 1 o'clock to kick off. The Browns, as of right now, are a 7.5-point favorite as they are at home. The Cincinnati Bengals have your Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh is a 4.5-point favorite at home with the Bengals in town. Look, overall, I think the Bengals have better skill position players than Pittsburgh, but because of that offensive line, like, this is a prime example. I think the Bengals, more weeks than not, they're going to have better skill position players. Between Joe Mixon and Jamar Chase and Boyd and Higgins, that group's better than what Pittsburgh has right now. But that offensive line's the difference. that offensive line's the difference, and it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. A lot of good games in the NFL, a lot of good games in college as well, and we'll talk about that as the week goes on. Jason Fitz, ESPN Radio, he'll make his debut on the show tomorrow, and we're looking forward to that as well. Until tomorrow, this has been the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Buckeye fans, stay tuned. We have the Buckeye Roundtable. You'll hear from Skip Bosick, Paul Keels. You'll have clips from, of course, Ryan Day and other members of the coaching staff for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Things a little dreary in Columbus, but Ohio State has Akron this coming up Saturday night, prime time, whatever that means anymore in today's football. But we'll see how Ohio State responds after their struggles against Tulsa this past Saturday. Until tomorrow, it's been the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Guys, stop putting your love life on hold. U.S. Pharmacy has some exciting news. If you've been wanting to try Viagra or Cialis, now's the perfect time. Call today and receive